Start using Ramp and you'll have more time to spend scaling your business. And that'll feel really good. Upgrade to Ramp for free today and get $250 at ramp.com/radio. Ramp.com/radio. That's ramp.com/radio.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Let's go!
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners got a win yesterday thanks to Julio Rodriguez's first bomb of the year in the sixth inning, put them up 2-1. The Mariners split the series 2-2. Their three-game series against the Tigers starts tonight. First pitch is at 6:40, and all four number one seeds are in. March Madness is coming to an end after a busy couple of weeks, and the Yankees introduced their new Torpedo bat. Sounds illegal. They had 9 bombs on Saturday en route to beating the Brewers 20-9.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
It was a long weekend of baseball. It is here. Started on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We got baseball, and also we got Mike Lefko in today.
What's up, Bump?
For Stacy Ross. What up, Lefko?
You know what? I was thinking about this. You mentioned all those 4 number one seeds.
Right.
That doesn't ever happen. It only happened twice. I think that's this show. They couldn't have had us together more often than right now because it's too good. You know, people get sick of it. So here we are, the one seeds together.
The one seeds. I like that.
The one seeds.
That's what we're going to call this. So when Curtis is in, it's the dad podcast.
Yeah.
You don't have kids, so we can't go that route. So now this is going to be called the one seed podcast
I like it.
when Mike are in. That's what's up, man. Hey, but this weekend we got Mariners baseball. I had Mariners baseball, and you were there. And it was kind of like mixed emotions watching these guys play because you saw some greatness, right? You see Randy with the illest bath throw I've seen in a long time. You got Polanco, he's going yard. And then Julio finally gets off his little streak that he was on. There was a lot going down, man, and it was interesting. So where we're going to start the show is the concerns and the positives of what you saw this weekend. Lefko, let's start with the concerns. Let's start there.
Okay, I was going to say, are you negative first?
Yeah, I'm a negative first
Okay,
guy.
all right.
Yeah,
you saved the good till the end. That's good. I mean, it's a Monday, so tough start to the week. You got to get the negative out of the way first. And you kind of sit there. And that one Julio home run certainly changes, I think, the entire perception of the weekend.
Right.
Because it's a lot worse if you're coming in here after a 1-0 loss to lose the series against the A's and rather a 2-2 sweep. So you feel slightly better. But then there's that lingering, well, the Mariners didn't really do much to change our perception or our fear. So you sit here after 4 games, and 4 games are the only sample size we have. So right now, these 4 games, there's not much to feel good about long-term about whether this offense can be sustainable. There are positives. We'll get to that. The Julio home run, certainly huge. It's massive for what he can do and because of the expectations, what you need Julio to do in a clutch situation. But the overwhelming takeaway and just kind of feeling about that, especially when you kind of extrapolate out and think, okay, well, the Rangers look really good. Mm-hmm. They're healthy again. The Astros took the series against the Mets. We're not worried about the Mariners against the A's over the course of the season. We're worried about the Mariners chasing down the best teams in the American League. So the fact that they split against the A's and that none of the lingering concerns were really answered, like your situation at third defensively, your first base situation, consistent offense, all of that kind of simmered to light because, Bump, we're a couple home runs away from saying, wow, this could have gotten really bad. Even the excitement of Thursday, it took 2 home runs in the 8th inning, and then yesterday, Bump, you had to help me out here. I was going to call you because I was sitting there waiting to do postgame. I was about to call you and say, I have to do an hour after a 1-0 loss. I can't do 4 more hours of this tomorrow. So until Julio hit that home run, I was sitting there racking my brain, trying to think about what to talk about and what to even bring up after a Mariners 1-0 loss. So Julio saves the day there. But I think you start with that the overwhelming concern is the offense needed home runs to bail them out this weekend.
Speaking of home runs, here's Julio's.
There goes Robles. Swung on and destroyed. Lift off here. Upper deck on its way. Goodbye. Nearly to the top of the upper deck. That was absolutely destroyed. Julio, a monster two-run home run, and the Mariners lead 2-1. A no-doubt moonshot by Julio.
First, big ups Julio for pimping that. He stood there for a long time watching that thing go.
Would you not?
You have to.
Yeah,
I've never hit a bomb in my life, but I would assume that if I felt that, it's like hitting that drive. I did hit a bomb on the golf course today, and you sit there and you stare at that thing. So I would assume it feels something like that. But that's something that we needed to see, right? We talk about concerns. What concerned me to start the season was this Julio, right? He's not getting on base. He's not hitting the ball hard, driving into the outfield like we're used to seeing. So he needed that. We needed that. The tough part about this 4-game stretch for me, Lefko, is that if they would have came out and mopped these dudes, right, and they're scoring 4 to 5 runs, we're still going to sit here and say, only 4 games, man, can you get it done? And then they go out and give us a little bit of everything, and we're sitting here and saying, well, it's 4 games. We needed to see more than just that. They're never going to give us enough, especially this early in the season. That's why 162 is so tough, man. You do pre and post and all that stuff, so you guys are locked in. In football, we sit there once a week, and there's so much for us to analyze. But in baseball, in this sense, because there's 162, it's so hard to grab the identity of this team through 4. But we saw a little bit of everything, like you pointed out. Something that was concerning for sure was 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position, 1 for 6 on Friday. That's something that we saw last year. So it's kind of like we want to erase what we saw and felt last year and start over all over this year, but it hasn't felt like that so far. But it's only 4 games in.
Yeah, because for a team that is built on pitching and not with overwhelming offense, all the games are going to be like this.
Yeah.
That's their identity. That's how they're going to win. And in the wins, it works. When you have Andres Munoz to close it out, when you get a lead in these late innings, you can take a lead into the 8th, or you take a lead after the 8th and close it out. But we have seen them struggle to play from behind, like in that situation you mentioned on Saturday. So if everything has to go right, you can't afford to be 1 for 10 and leave 9 on base on Saturday and not take advantage of a situation like in the first inning where the bases are loaded with no outs.
Right.
Yes, there was a great defensive play made, but still, 2 outs in that situation, you have guys on base, you don't score, and then really no sustained push after that. So here's what was crazy, Bob. I had to double check. Not that I doubted, but sometimes you read a stat and you're like, wait, that can't be right. So until Sunday, until that Julio home run, the Mariners hadn't scored an earned run off an A's starter all weekend.
Wow.
They scored 1 run on Saturday that was unearned. They didn't score any runs on Friday. Their runs on Thursday obviously came against the bullpen in the 8th. So you did not take a knock off of any A's starter this weekend until Sunday, and that came at the very end of J.P. Sears' outing. And the A's, they don't have a great pitching staff. It's not terrible, but it's those lefties. And so the lefties, again, kind of concern me because what we're seeing, and I know there wasn't going to be a marked difference in offensive philosophy because at the end of the year there really wasn't when Dan Wilson took over. But at this point, and I'll credit Bob because he was on this push last year a lot too, if you don't have a viable option, I would just like to see someone like Luke Raley get his at-bats.
Right.
Get time in there to work because he is your future. He's under contract till 2028. Instead, it's that alternating the left-right matchup. So what you had was Raley didn't play on Friday or Sunday. He came in as a pinch hitter on Friday. But then you have Donovan Solano in there. So if you're alternating them at first, you're going to need the guy in there to produce, right? Hey, if you're in against lefties, we need you to take advantage against lefties. Solano, 0 for 7.
0 for 7. Yeah,
0 for 7.
There is a matchup issue going on. I agree 100% with that. All right, man, we talked about some negatives, right?
Yeah. Sorry to be a big downer.
Mike came on and said, look, let's get this out the way, and we got out the way. Or that's the way I am.
That's good.
When someone asks me, you want the good news or the bad news first? I always take the bad news. So that was the bad news. Let's get to some good now.
Yeah.
Our guy Jorge
Polanco.
5 for 10 on the weekend, 3 RBIs, hitting every game that he played. What did you see from Jorge?
Well, a healthy Jorge Polanco that everyone's been talking about. It sounds like it could be a huge difference. You're unsure about what to expect because your only sample size of Jorge Polanco was last season, and he was dealing with that knee injury. So coming out of spring training, okay, yeah, he looks good. He's healthy, at least at the plate. But we know that spring stats don't translate up here. I mean, the most obvious example of that was look at this weekend where guys that have been hitting well down in Arizona, you come up here, the weather's different, the wind's different, and you're actually pitching or facing pitching that is doing it for real. So it's hard to know what you take away from spring stats, but maybe confidence. And so someone like Jorge Polanco coming in healthy, getting that confidence at the plate, and having it result in the home run, the huge home run on Thursday night. And then, the only really key base knock RBI that he had on Saturday. He looks good. You can't argue with 5 for 10, and that's 5 for 10 in 3 games because he didn't play yesterday. So Jorge Polanco, overwhelmingly good. And then, you mentioned Julio, and we'll spin that to the positive of, hey, Julio, all the talk around him, right, is what can he do in the clutch? If this guy is your superstar, if he's one of the faces of your franchise, he needs to deliver in the clutch. And you know what? He only had 1 hit until yesterday, but that home run, exactly what you needed. So if Julio's coming through in the clutch like that, that erases a lot of these concerns that we talked about.
And here's Dan Wilson talking about Julio's approach.
We talk about it a lot. Staying in the middle of the field, you'll get your fastball and you'll be able to hit that up the middle or the other way. And then the breaking ball that's out front, you'll catch out early and hit that ball a long way to the pull side. And that's what Julio did. Just a great at-bat.
So last week, before we hit the weekend, me and Stacy were talking about needle movers. What is a needle mover?
I heard that
and
conversation.
she was going in and saying Julio's a needle mover. I didn't agree with her. Some people did, some people didn't. But it was a great conversation. And the one thing we pointed out with Julio is exactly what you're talking about. He is a good ball player. We see the potential, but he has to have those clutch moments. How many times have we seen Judge come through? How many times have we seen Soto? How many times Ohtani, Bryce, even Mike Trout when he's healthy, hardly out there playing though. But you got to have those moments, and it's been such a long time since I felt like Julio's had a moment. He probably has had them, I just don't remember them. So if they're not that frequent, you're not a needle mover, but this was a needle mover type of moment for him.
Actually, you know what's funny? So the Mariners PR staff made a note in their game notes yesterday that it was exactly a year ago, yesterday, March 30th, 2024, when Julio delivered his first walk-off hit. They got the 4-3 win over the Red Sox in extras on that opening weekend. So March 30th, something about March 30th bodes well for Julio. But okay, back to that actually. I'm a little curious, Bum. So do you think Julio, with consistent production, can get to needle mover status?
Yes, and let me correct myself. It's a needle mover, but we call him move a needle. We flipped it.
Move a needle.
Move
Okay.
a needle. He can.
Okay.
But needle movers do things consistently, and Julio's game is up and down. Right, his first year he hits the block hot. He comes out swinging, rookie of the year. Second year we see some progression, but then last year we kind of seen the dip, and it felt like the lows were longer than we're used to seeing when we're talking about these type of guys. He's got it in him. Like, he's got all the potential. Everyone has potential when they're little, right? He just needs to be. You know, when Michael Jordan was playing, Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, whenever they're at the free throw line, there was no doubt in my mind that they were going to make the free throw. I can't even remember Jordan not making a free throw. Whenever Bryce Harper is up there in the batter's box and we need a moment, or if they need a moment, I believe that he's going to do it. I just don't have that feeling yet with Julio, but I know that it's there. This has to be the year that he becomes a needle mover.
Yeah, I think he can get there because he was already there. I think his personality, his appearances, he's in every ad. He's all over. He's a marketable face of baseball. And 2022, that home run derby got him there. He was, he almost
So
won.
you think he's a needle mover now?
No, he can get back there. He has the closest potential. No one else. There's not. I would agree. I heard that conversation. I don't think there's more than 1 to 2 in all of baseball. But Julio, because of his personality, because he's a marketable face, he's in so many national ad campaigns. If he has production, like home runs consistently, getting to the top of the home run leaderboard, that home run derby vaulted him into national, one of the faces of the league. He was at move the needle status, not needle mover. So if he does this in the regular season, all of a sudden people are starting to pay attention. Like, oh, look at Julio. He's had a 3-game home run streak. He's got 10 home runs this month, something like that. He'll get there, but it's going to take a while. So, I don't think anything he does for the first couple months can do that. But if he's in the MVP race, all of a sudden you're like, oh, yeah, this Julio Rodriguez, who we know had been one of the faces of baseball, he's back in that spotlight.
Yeah, I agree. That home run derby, the 2 of them that he was in, right? Those were moments, right? National moments where he introduced number 44 to the country, and it had me jumping up and down like a fanboy when they were here in Seattle. I've never been like that ever in my life. That was fun to watch. So yes, he has the potential, and this team needs him to do that. So seeing him get out of that, I don't even know if we want to call it a slump. We're starting the season, right? To get out whatever he was in and to come through clutch. It was a big moment for him and a big moment for this organization.
Can I spin it back to the positives too a little bit? More of a, hey, they didn't do well, but they still came away with a split. So
Right.
Cal and Julio, the 2 guys who you need to carry this team. We talk so much about the supplementary pieces. Like, you need Mitch Garver, Jorge Polanco, that's going to be key. Arozarena had the home run. But everyone we talk to on all of our shows says that this offense is nothing without Julio and Cal. They have to carry the bulk of it. So for them to have relatively slow starts, Cal didn't have a hit until yesterday, did draw 3 walks, stole a base, by the way. He's going to be a base-stealing threat again.
Come on,
6 stolen bases last year.
Yeah.
Cal Raleigh, he's got speed. He's that dumper, when it gets moving, that's a lot of momentum going. Yeah. So the fact that Cal only has 1 hit, that Julio only had 1 hit until yesterday, and still they come away with a series split. You would hope, okay, that's the worst stretch or among the worst slow stretches they're going to be in. If the expectations are playoffs, I don't think you're going to see many combined stretches out of those two. And the fact they still got 2 wins, okay, you salvage that. It's almost like basketball team in the first half. They miss every 3. And you're like, well, they're still only down by 5. They can't play worse. So I'll spin it back there to end on the positive because, yeah, there were a lot of concerns I threw out there to start this.
Yeah, there were. It's all right. But, we keep it real. 100 here.
I know.
Well, on the number 1 seed podcast. Let's get the headline rewrites.
Extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Let's get into it. All right, headline. A potential ban of the tush push is gaining momentum. Lefko, what's the real headline?
Real headline is that whole no crying in baseball thing doesn't seem to apply to the NFL.
Not at all. Not at all. That's a bar right there. It's me. I'm not against the tush push. I see nothing wrong with it. And the reasons they're putting them out there that they want to get rid of it is bull to me. Oh, well, it's player safety. No one's been hurt on the tush push. No documented injury has happened on the tush push. Guys tear their ACLs on regular plays all the time. The tush push is something that the Eagles have perfected. And like I always say, just don't get to 4th and 1. Don't get to on the 1-yard line. Play better defense and don't put yourself in that position.
I know we'll talk about this a lot because Bob Condotta is down at the NFL league meetings. They're going to vote on it, so we're having him on at noon to talk about that. And yeah, it has become the storyline coming out of the owners' meetings because teams are a little worked up. I have a slightly different opinion. I'll wait to share that. But
you holding on to it?
I think more of it's more of, if it were to be banned, it would be because it's not a play that is visually entertaining in football. You just run it over and over. If the Eagles wanted to, they could run it 4 times. You gain 2 to 3 yards. You run that 4 times, it's first down every time. And I don't want to see things like we saw in the NFC title game where the Commanders keep jumping off sides. Your Coug over there just trying to skirt the rules. But hey, good on him. I would do the same thing. Why not? If you're down at the half-yard line, what's the harm there? So it was actually a pretty heads-up play there by Frankie Luvu. But for that sake, I don't like that coaches are wanting to ban it under the guise of, it's not safe, because the Eagles are so successful about it. If you can come up with a good situation to show that, it's not a play that we want to watch in football, and they've outlawed other things. I mean, football has a lot of crazy rules we can go into, but it does feel like because the Eagles overwhelmingly are having success, and because it was the Packers, that's a bad look. The Packers lost to the Eagles, then they're the ones that come up and kind of front this proposal. So that's what I have the issue with. But, maybe there is some merit that we can dive into.
Just stop saying it's not safe.
Yeah,
no one's been hurt on that play.
Yeah.
Next.
Headline rewrites.
All 4 number 1 seeds advance to the Final Four just the second time ever. What's the real headline?
When Duke is the feel-good story of the Final Four, you know you have a problem.
Duke. Yeah, this is all the experts pretty much had all the number 1 seeds going to the Final Four. And to me, there are some reasons for this. Like the mid-major is going to be dead when it comes to March Madness because of transfer portal, NIL, guys are going to get poached all the time. But you know what? I'm all right with Duke doing their thing, man. Cooper Flag, I said this last week. We need an American to establish himself as the best baller in all the world. Getting to the NBA, I'm putting all my money on Cooper Flag. It's going to be tough, though, because Europeans are killing it.
I would say the U.S. might lose their supremacy.
According to MVPs, we gone.
That
SGA's going to win it this year.
Olympic gold took some hard-earned work.
I mean, but that's the world's catching up. They're already caught up. Man, you got Giannis winning, to the Joker winning. SGA is going to win this year, I believe. But no, it's been a interesting tournament, but not as fun to watch as it's been in the past.
Well, it is interesting for a number of reasons. That Duke, and it pains me to say that Duke is a feel-good story, and I don't want to root for them selfishly because I picked Florida to win, but Auburn, Bruce Pearl, not a likable guy, plenty of recruiting violations in his past. Kelvin Sampson, same thing, a ton of recruiting violations in his past. He's not the nicest person, not the best person to cheer for. And then, the whole Todd Golden situation, the alleged situation that he got into. We don't have to really rehash that, but if you're not familiar, just search Todd Golden situation, and there was some not so good stuff that came out about the Florida coach. So all of that, and John Shire looks like a choir boy here.
Right.
So you have that, and you have the feel-good American dream and Cooper Flag. Where do you project him, by the way?
Oh, he's going number
in the
one.
NBA? No. Like, how does he fit in? Is he going to get bodied around in the NBA?
No, he's good, man.
He's got no muscle on him.
The game is different. Chet ain't got no muscle on him, but he's also 7 feet tall.
Right.
The game's different.
What's Flag, like
it's a perimeter game now.
6'10"?
I think he's going to be fine, man. The game is played at the three-point line. If we're talking early 2000s, maybe up to 10s, there might be some concern. But this is what guys do. We seen Chet put on weight. We saw Giannis come in skinny. He's going to put on weight. He's still a growing young man. I think he's going to be just fine. The NBA rules are like it's like how the game in the NFL game is built for passing now, right? You protect the quarterbacks, protect the receivers. The NBA game protects the perimeter. You can't touch anybody anymore. Everyone's shooting 33s a game. He's going to be just fine. I'm interested to see how he does.
It is crazy seeing that point center. It's jarring every time. Just watching him, so fluid, bring the ball up the court. Just it's not fair.
Yeah.
Headline rewrites.
Rafael Devers has struck out a record 12 times through 4 games. Lefko, what's the real headline?
12 strikeouts.
Yeah.
Sounds like a typical Saturday night for me.
You don't strike out that much, Lefko. You got him. I seen you pull it
Hey,
out.
for the sake of a joke. It was too good. It was too good to pass up. Sometimes the jokes are just there in front of you.
Yeah, that was good.
I had to bring that up there.
Yeah. What you do this weekend? You go out this weekend?
Struck out 12 times.
You struck out 12 times?
Yeah.
You watched some strikeouts. You were at T-Mobile this weekend.
Yeah,
right?
no, I was there most of the weekend, and then had to watch basketball. So that was pretty much most of the day on Saturday and Friday night. Sprinted home from the Mariners game, did our show out there, Wyman and Bob, on Friday, and then had to watch Purdue heartbreakingly lose to Houston. So
yeah,
you know what's funny though? For the first time in a while, everyone was kind of rooting for Purdue. They were an underdog story, and I wasn't used to that. So you're out with a lot of people, and maybe there's some rooting interest, but then this is the best thing about a sporting event when you're watching with people. When it gets close, all the people that might not have been interested, they start to pay attention, they start to realize something dramatic's happening. Everyone's hanging on the basket. Every single possession, people are going nuts. And when you have an underdog, the natural crowd reaction, the natural inclination, I think, is to root for the underdog. So it was great in the moment when Purdue tied it up. And then I will credit Kelvin Sampson there. That was one of the greatest inbounds pass plays I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was.
Well designed.
Did you see when Johnny Broom, I think his name is, for
Janai
Auburn?
Broom, yeah.
Janai, sorry. Did you see him roll his ankle and hyperextend his knee at the same play? I thought he was done. I'm like, there's no way this young man is coming back. He walks to the tunnel, unlike Paul Pierce, and he runs back out. I'm like, okay, young fella.
How did I know that was coming from
you?
him?
Man, I take my shots at the Celtics whenever I can. But I watched that, and I felt like I broke something in my foot and hyperextended my knee. There's no way this 39-year-old body will be able to bounce back like he did.
There are moments, and you talk about the Elite Eight. I'm never going to get where I was when I saw that Kevin Ware injury.
Yeah.
Louisville, when he comes down, he lands on that. Yeah, we don't have to go into detail anymore, but that is gruesome right there. So there are those situations that luckily Janai Broom was back. But yeah, how about Devers, man? Can you believe that? 0 for 16, I think, on the weekend, and then 12 strikeouts.
Man, that's a slump, man.
And Ian's still rocking the Red Sox hat over there. So
he's just got to catch up to the fastball. It'll happen.
Just got to catch him. Easy fix. Just catch him to the fastball.
Red Sox. Hey, the Red Sox could not even help out and take care of the Rangers. What's going on there?
It's early.
Yeah.
It's early.
It's early. That's what we say about the Mariners.
That's
I guess it's early until
for
it's
you.
not early.
Until
So
it's
remember,
not.
162 individual battles.
All right. Well, this is the Bump and Stacy show. We got Mike Lefko filling in for Stacy Ross today. We're going to have Bob Condotta on at 12. But when we come back, we got to see the starters. We've seen Gilbert, Castillo, Miller, and Wu. We'll assess them next.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
We are now speaking with the architect of your Seattle Seahawks.
How we doing, football fans?
With Seahawks President of Football Operations and General Manager John Schneider.
My job is to do what's best for the Seattle Seahawks organization. I have to keep wrapping my mind around that and trying to communicate effectively.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
What's the standard the Seahawks defense needs to be held to under Mike McDonald?
The John Schneider Show.
Brought to you by Pizza Hut.
Join the team. The city of Kirkland is hosting a job fair on Saturday, April 5th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the North Kirkland Community Center. Visit kirklandwa.gov/parkjobs for more information and links to positions.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to goodrx.com/GLP. That's goodrx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Taxes was taxing. Now taxes is relaxing when you file for free.
I can file for free? TurboTax Free Edition. Roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple Form 1040 returns only. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. I can file for free.
Now this is taxes. File for free with TurboTax Free Edition and get your maximum refund. No schedules except for earned income tax credit, child tax credit, and student loan interest. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with a Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Real Success. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at ourrealsuccess.com.
Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses and acquiring rental properties right here in Seattle? We're offering a handful of motivated individuals the opportunity to attend our workshop right here in Seattle for free. That's right. We'll give you 2 free tickets when you text FLIP to 64,000. Seattle is the perfect market to flip houses and build rental income. Discover the simple steps developed by Joe Arias, one of real estate's greatest rags to riches stories. You'll learn to flip properties and secure rental properties without using your own money and in your spare time. Don't miss this opportunity. Come to a complimentary live 2-hour workshop this week right here in Seattle and learn how to start making money flipping homes and building long-term wealth with rental properties. To get 2 free tickets, text FLIP to 64,000. Text in the next 10 minutes and registrants will also receive a free copy of our Funding for Deals guide. Text FLIP to 64,000 for 2 complimentary tickets. Text FLIP to 64,000.
I started Davis Law Group in 1994 to fight for the underdog. And as our team has grown, we've stayed true to that mission. Today, Davis Law Group is known for providing excellent service and even better results. Visit WashingtonAccidentBooks.com to get your free book on car accident law.
4 down territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
Washington State has the 3rd highest cost of living in the nation. If Olympia politicians raise taxes again, the cost of everything from groceries and gas to housing will go up even more. They've already doubled spending over 10 years, with little to show for it. Washington State needs lower costs, not higher taxes. Demand smarter state spending now at affordablewashington.org. Paid for by people for an affordable Washington and Olympia, Washington. Top 5 donors are Washington Alliance for Competitive Economy, Microsoft, Madrona, T-Mobile, and Alaska Air.
You've heard the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Since 1926, my family's been helping local businesses make great first, second, and long-term impressions. We know how to make your company look good with quality uniforms, logoed apparel, floor mats, linens, and more. If you're paying for linen service or doing it yourself, let's have the conversation. The information and quote are free, but the savings and service can really add up. Visit suplinen.com. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do.
Asset Roofing was founded with the aim of shielding the community from liabilities that may arise from hiring a contractor. Bob Stelton here, and I love their slogan. You're either hiring an asset or you're hiring a liability. Now, I've been there, and you probably have too. Hiring a contractor that showed up late, delivered shoddy work, or went over budget. Asset Roofing is the opposite of a bad contractor. Their business model is to deliver honest and transparent solutions, becoming a valuable asset for both clients and their communities. Now, I experienced it firsthand when I met Anthony, the owner, and then again when I had him do work on my roof. Now, these guys are the best in the business, and I highly recommend Asset Roofing to local homeowners. Now, this spring, replace your aging roof with Asset Roofing. Ask them about their specialty, metal roofs. You're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset. Check them out at assetroofingco.com. That's assetroofingco.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Baseball is back, and we saw the Mariners take on the Sacramento, Oakland, Las Vegas A's this weekend, splitting the series 2-2. We got to see some of the starters, man. We got Gilbert. He went 7 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned, and 8 Ks, no walks. Castillo went 5 innings, gave up 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 Ks, 2 walks. Miller, 5 innings pitched, 6 hits, 3 errors, 4 Ks, 2 walks, and then Wu finished it up. 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned, 5 Ks, and 2 walks. The heart and soul of this team we saw for the most part this weekend, Lefko, and it was exciting, man. Again, this opening weekend is always fun. I think it's the best start to a season in any sport we have here. Just all the festivities, the bunting that is up. Me and Stacy just learned what that's called. I'm sitting there in the box on
Brock's
a Thursday.
a big bunting guy.
You're a big bunting guy?
No, Brock. Have you heard him earlier?
I love the bunting too.
Yeah.
You like
You're a
bunting too?
Who doesn't love the bunting?
Yeah. It's really
it's fine.
It's as American as it gets.
I just know
bunting.
it's going to be there. Maybe I just take it for granted.
Yeah. But we saw 4 of the guys, man, and just give me your overall view, and then we'll kind of dig into each starter one by one.
Yeah, I guess when we were talking about positives, I didn't mention the rotation. It kept them separate because we just kind of expect them to be good. It's unfair. It is unfair that you just expect you're going to get at minimum a quality start from these guys, but that's kind of how the Mariners have built their team. They've built them around the strength of an enviable rotation and a rotation that is frankly capable of doing that. So it's unfair at times, but you know what? That's what happens in all walks of life. If someone's good at something, if LeBron goes out there back in his heyday and he's only putting up 25, you're like, hey, what's wrong with this guy?
Right.
But that's what he does because he's the best of his game. Or when your guy Kobe was at the top of his game, only 81 points one time. What's wrong with him? No. So the rotation, you do expect, and you feel better when you see Logan Gilbert go out there and back up that opening day nod. And I know we all talked about it on Friday, so I won't spend a lot of time on Gilbert, but that was reassuring. Luis Castillo, we know he has his highs and his lows, and he needs some time to kind of work into the season. So that's just kind of okay. Castillo's a veteran enough that I'm not concerned if he has an outing where he gives up a couple of home runs or something, or only goes 5 innings, because we have seen what he could do at his peak. He's had some shutdown dominant innings and outings before. So I kind of go to Miller and Wu because, in my opinion, they have the most untapped potential and most upside because they came in together 2023. They're still the quote young guys because Logan Gilbert's a veteran at this point. Mm-hmm. We haven't talked about George Kirby because he is on the IL to start the season, and you don't know when he's going to be back. So when Kirby gets back in the mix, we'll talk about Kirby. But the fact that you have this much depth, that you're talking about 4 core guys instead of 5, says a lot to what this rotation can do. So Miller, with all of his pitches, I think it will be more of a process of unlocking how he wants to mix and match and utilize all those. It's kind of a curse and a blessing to have those pitches, to have so many that you're comfortable with. He's got 7.
Yeah.
He's got 7
It's
pitches.
wild.
It is almost too much. You're like, all right, what am I going to throw here? Puts a lot on Cal on what to call. But it's finding, I think, that proper balance of, hey, I want to harness what this guy does well, and let's figure out the best plan of attack of, okay, he's got that great fastball, but how do we mix in all these other things that he's working on to help set up that fastball? With Wu, it's almost the exact opposite. And we saw it yesterday. He has 2 dominant fastballs, and he really rides those. And Cal calls a great game behind the plate. That's why he is such a coveted catcher and one of the best defensive catchers, if not the best defensive catcher in baseball. So Wu will just go with his bread and butter. And he talked about that in the offseason when Brock and Salk were down there and when Wyman and Bob were down there, that, all these guys are tinkering. He's like, nah, I just focus on the pitches I have, on perfecting those and how to utilize and put those in there. And that's what he did yesterday. So for Wu to come out 6 innings and really just make one mistake, just that one mistake, and he worked around it after that, just 1 run, 1 home run, that was it. I am really excited about Brian Wu. I think he could really shoot to the top of this Mariners, like unofficial order. I don't know if you have a staff ranking bump, but we kind of go back and forth like, who's the best right now? Who has the best potential? And Wu, he could just jump up there, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's special when he's got that fastball working. Here's what I'm talking about it.
2-1 Mariners.
Sorry, wrong cut.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, wrong cut right there. You got that cut, Lefko?
Yes. Here we go.
Yeah, I think when they're on like they were today, I think, you continue to trust them and they set up other pitches well. I didn't do as good a job with the off speeds today of just, trusting them and getting to their spots. And,
obviously the homer is unfortunate, but I think continue to attack and you get ahead with those, and then opens up a lot of other options for you.
I like him knowing who he is, right? You talk about Miller. Miller knows who he is, all right? You got players with, who added a pitch? Munoz trying to add pitches and stuff. This is what this pitching staff does, right? They tinker with things. But I also like the simplicity in one's game as well. If you do a couple of things well, man, you just get excellent at that and lean on it. And then eventually, he's so young, you imagine that other pitches are going to develop and that he'll expand his portfolio. But I always love when athletes just keep it simple sometimes. It's nice to be elaborate. It's nice to have all of these options. It's nice to be able to play multiple positions if we're talking other sports, but simplicity is good too.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like the Travis Hunter debate, which we don't have to get into right now, but hey, does that pay off at the NFL level?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're a really good cornerback and you're a really good wide receiver, but does it behoove you to focus on one and becoming elite at it? So that'll be an interesting question for, another discussion and an NFL team that drafts him. But yeah, with Woo, I'm also very excited by the fact that he is still relatively young innings-wise, right, because he has the history of arm injury. So they're very careful with him, working him up through the system. And then the fact that he did, unfortunately, have a delayed start to the season last year. He had the, shoulder. Okay, so he had a shoulder and elbow issues. It was shoulder inflammation coming out of spring training, and then he had some elbow tightness that they shut him down with for a couple weeks in July. But his start to the season was delayed, so he missed the first 6 weeks of the season. And I didn't even realize it was that long until I was going back through it yesterday. I was like, oh, yeah, he didn't make his debut till May 10th last year.
Yeah.
So to get Woo right here on opening weekend, and knock on wood, and you assume because of how good the Mariners pitching staff and pitching department is about keeping these guys healthy that he'll be there for the entire year. Woo said his goal this season was close to 200 innings. Or, he wants to improve his innings. That's the one kind of stat that he was tracking. So 121 innings and 121 and a third innings last year with missing a handful of starts. So to see him come out like that in the opening weekend, you get a full season of Brian Woo. That's something the Mariners haven't had yet. That adds another dimension to this pitching staff.
Let's see what Dan Wilson has to say about Woo.
They're two really good fastballs, and we've seen the effectiveness of both. And when you mix in the breaking stuff along with that, you get guys way out front, and you get them thinking a little bit differently. But he can overpower people, and that's what he's been able to do. For his time in the big leagues, and he's got two really good fastballs.
So you are excited about Woo. You respect everything that's going on in this rotation, but is he the one that got you the most excited this weekend, even though Gilbert came out and did his thing on Thursday?
Back to the unfair part, I just expect that of Logan at this point.
Right.
So it is unfair because if he does that all year, yeah, he's going to be among the Cy Young favorites, as a couple of guys have predicted. We went through some of the season predictions at the start of the year, and a couple of guys from The Athletic, very high on Logan Gilbert. They have him as the AL Cy Young favorite. So if he backs that up, that would be incredible. But now you almost get to the point where you're like, well, okay, that's expected. So not taking anything away from Logan Gilbert, but if he does that every single start, and I think he's capable of it, Woo is more of, we haven't seen what he can do with a full season. So I think there's just the excitement of the unknown, because his 2023 season was so shaky. I don't know if you remember that, and I just remember this because it was his debut. It was also such a hot, brutal summer day here, and then he's down in Texas where it's hot there. So it all seemed to be like, wow, this is just a tough day all around, and he debuts against what would be then the World Series champion Rangers, against that offense, and he gets shelled. 2 innings. I had to just go look up to make sure I was right, because it felt like he just kept giving up runs. 2 innings, 7 hits, 6 runs. And I think he's just gotten better every step of the way since then. And towards the end of that 2023 season, his command was a little erratic. There was that one game, again, against Texas, when the Mariners are trying to chase down a playoff spot, and he just kind of willed his way out of an inning, even though he had lost his command. So then to see last year that improvement, okay, then you build out, what does 2025 bring? And so far, it brought 6 innings. It brought a stretch where after that home run, where we heard he was pretty hard on himself, he retired the next 7 batters he faced. And the only one that reached after that, reached on a walk, got a double play to get out of it. So, yeah, I think Brian Woo can be a difference maker in this staff. And if he kind of builds up to challenge Logan as your 1 and then 2 in terms of just pure stuff, then you still have Kirby and Miller and Castillo. And that's why everyone's so excited about this pitching staff.
Don't you love early season talk?
Yeah.
Like the possibilities, right?
There's only 4 games, so we're just throwing everything out there about what could happen. We have such a small sample size to go on, and so there's limitless possibilities.
Yeah.
So why not throw everything out there?
Why not? All right. You got me bought in on Woo. I was already bought in, but now I'm really bought in. I'm investing
What do
my
you think about
emotions and
this?
everything.
Really quick. So I came up with a name. It either is going to be wildly popular or just everyone's going to hate it. You know how people have a cheering section?
Uh-huh.
What about the Woo District?
The Woo District. I like that.
Yeah. Probably not the U District.
Or the Wu-Tang Clan.
That, even better.
There we go.
There we go. All right, we got
Bars
it.
we're spinning today. All right, man. Lots of baseball. We got Leftco. We got to go a lot of baseball. All right. When we come back, we'll go around the NFL. The Yankees doing some janky stuff. That's next.
When you're on the pitch clock and don't have time for your favorite Seattle sports shows, listen to the podcasts on demand.
How about that? Unbelievable. Who would have thought?
Every hour, every interview, every look behind the scenes.
Dan Wilson's the new skipper?
This is a window. This is a time where we can get it done, and that's the hope. That's the vision for this club.
Find us on seattlesports.com, the Seattle Sports app, or wherever you get podcasts.
Holy smokes!
Never miss a minute of Seattle sports, the home of the Mariners.
Hey, what's up? It's Michael Bumpus here to talk to you about Silver Reef Casino Resort. I was supposed to go down there this weekend, but kids get in the way, soccer games, basketball games. So I'm flipping it. This weekend, I'm going down there, and when I do, I want to check out the Deluxe King room that they have. And I got to go eat. They got great restaurants. They got the steakhouse, and if you're feeling like some Mexican food, they got the new Cantina. March Madness is still going down. I'm going to go to Porter's Bay Sports Bar and check that out as well. And the weather seems like it's going to go good. I'm bringing the sticks. I'm going to play at Loomis Trail Golf. I'm going to hit the range. I'm going to get in their historic clubhouse. If you are feeling like you're getting some FOMO, don't trip. I got you. Visit silverreefcasino.com. Book your stay today. Let's go gamble, play some golf, everything. They got you.
Who's cutting down the nets this year? Get in on all the tournament action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest upsets to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Good morning, Doctor.
Doctor?
Hi, Doctor.
Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with a Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different.
TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Everyone wants to get the best deal they can when they buy a car. But what about when you want to sell your car? Of course, you want to get the most money possible. But how do you get the most you can without trying to sell it yourself? Well, that's where my friends at Wayscar Ford in Auburn step in. Not only will they buy your car today, but that's just the beginning. Once they resell your old car, they send you another check for 50% of the profit of the sale of your old car. They've already given back over $750,000 to their customers. Mark, GM of Wayscar Ford, joins me, and it's such a great offer. But to clear up any confusion, is this like a consignment, and how can you offer this?
It's not a consignment, Stacy. In a consignment, the dealer that's trying to sell your car hasn't paid you yet. We pay you right up front. No more insurance, no more maintenance. All that's gone. After that's done, we pay half the profit. It's that simple. There's no magic to this. All the money we're saving by not buying at auctions, the shipping fees and the travel, we're giving it back to you. That's how it works.
So get the most money possible at Wayscar Ford Isuzu in Auburn and let them do the work.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bump and Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Nothing says spring like some good old-fashioned baseball, America's pastime. It went down, and I was on the golf course, I believe, when I heard about this story, or I heard about what was going on in the game. There were 3 pitches the Yankees saw. First 3 pitches of the game, and they all go yard. First time that's ever happened. They end up hitting 15 home runs in that series, 9 on Saturday, and they swept the Brewers. But the talk of that game were the home runs, but more so the torpedo bats that they displayed. Now,
I want to make this an interactive segment.
He's a prop guy. He brought in a bat. So we have a bat that's in the control room.
Yeah. And Curtis always plays with this back there. So it finally is coming in use. So we are going to make the first ever interactive segment here on the radio. Or you watch on the stream. I don't know how this is going to work, but yeah. Okay, I got it here.
All right, so the torpedo bat. Break down what the Yankees have done to their bats.
Okay, so for those watching, or for those not watching, you see this axe, this label right here. That's the label on this bat. So it's just right above the handle, kind of right where you're holding the bat there. The Yankees have moved the chunk of the barrel into this part of it. Now, I'm not an MIT physicist like they use it, so I'm probably not getting all this correct. But they essentially moved the sweet spot down a little bit because I think we have a cut on this too. The example they used was Anthony Volpe, who essentially was missing the barrel. So what this is like, all right, if a guy's missing, we're going to give him more of a chance to hit it out when he does not hit it completely on the sweet spot because, you get jammed in or you just, don't hit the barrel correctly. So they put the barrel or the chunk of that here. So they essentially just move the sweet spot a little bit lower into the handle. And everyone thinks, okay, now these are cheating bats or they're different. But we know all these little bats that Little League kids use or youth baseball use. You can do all sorts of things within legal limits of bats. But yeah, if you're watching on the stream or if you're not, try to do a little wordplay description here. They just took the barrel, essentially what you think of the sweet spot, which is usually further down toward the end, and moved it closer to the handle. I know they kind of were confusing everybody by saying, well, we put the hardest part into the logo. Well, just say you move the barrel down a little bit to vastly simplify exactly what they did. But yeah, so if you got your hands, you're holding the bat, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna swing this around and maybe hit someone here. But they just move this a little bit lower, so then all of a sudden you hit it right there. It's gonna go out in that bandbox of a park. That's the thing too.
That's what I need. I would have went pro.
We'll talk about this, but the Yankees play in a park where pop flies are home runs. Yeah. So that helps.
All right, here's the Yankees TV broadcast talking about it.
Now, you see the shape of Chisholm's bat.
It's got a big barrel on it.
Well, it's actually a little bit lower than the barrel. The Yankee front office, the analytics department, did a study on Anthony Volpe. And every single ball, it seemed like he hit on the label. He didn't hit any on the barrel. So they had bats made up where they moved a lot of the wood into the label, so the harder part of the bat is going to actually strike the ball.
Listen, I think it's within the rules of the game, but it feels like cheating to me. It feels
like cheating.
It feels like cheating.
Okay.
You're manipulating something that's been the same for so long, and I'm cool with change, right? I'm good. And my second question is, I wonder what the process was for this. Did the Yankees just say, look, there's nothing against the rules that say we can manipulate this bat a little bit. We're just going to do it, and if MLB finds us or tries to get rid of it, then so be it. It just doesn't feel right to me. And like you mentioned, they play in a Little League park, so all you got to do is clip that thing and it's gone.
Well, and most notably, the guy who had 4 home runs on the weekend, Aaron Judge, doesn't use it. And he was like, no, I don't need it.
Yeah.
So it's to help out maybe guys who aren't naturally home run hitters or people that often miss the sweet spot. So all they're doing is they just have kind of made the fatter part down here so it looks a little different. Look up those, I brought this example up because when I was playing baseball, way back when you're a kid and you want the shiny toy, you want everything, I had to have the red line bat. And still, 20 plus years later, I want that bat because it would have made me a major leaguer. But you look at that, it kind of looks like the same. They put the fat old part of the barrel down a little bit lower, and all of a sudden that spring-loaded thing can hit it out of there, and I still am mad. And my parents didn't get me the red line bat, but you know what they said? They were like, I don't think it's the bat as much as it's the guy wielding that bat. So, yeah, to some extent, maybe it is a little bit of a placebo of, hey, I have this thing that I believe in, and it helps a little bit. But if you're good enough, like you're Aaron Judge, you're a home run hitter, I don't think it's going to matter. And more importantly, Bump, if you're thinking about, hey, just give these bats, give the Torpedoes to the Mariners, you got to make contact for it to matter.
You got to square that thing up.
You got to square it up anyway. So the Mariners, who struck out 41 times, I don't think Torpedo bat is the end-all, be-all. But it's just it's another fun controversy, right? Something to talk about.
It is. When I saw the a tweet about it, I just saw the picture. And I thought someone had photoshopped it, or I didn't really read the headline to get into the article. I just saw the picture. I'm like, what is that? And I clicked on it, and I can't believe what I was seeing. But, hey, if MLB ain't going to say nothing and the Yankees are smart enough to help their guys out, so be it. Text in. What do y'all think about this? You think it's okay, or do you think that it should be banned? You guys text in 866-979-3776. Let us know what you think, because me personally, Left Cop, I guess this is grumpy old man Bump getting old. Like, come on, man, keep the bats the same and just keep it pushing.
Well, I thought your complaint segment was
that's
Wednesday.
Yeah,
okay.
Wednesday.
So hey, you have something to complain about now, built in. We got a chunk of text making the point as well that you move the weight down here, so it makes the bat lighter also. And that's why I think you do it with a guy like Volpe. So you don't need, the big sluggers don't necessarily need this. But if you're a guy that needs a little bit of a lighter bat to get through that zone quicker, this helps. I just like that we can do a bat demonstration. I get why Curtis just swings this thing around all day, constantly. He's just constantly walking around with it, annoying Matt Nelson usually back there. So I'm going to swing this around for the rest of the show until someone comes and takes it from me.
I like this. We got a couple good texts. 253 says, it's the tush push of baseball. Ooh, I like that.
We're going to talk about the tush push a lot.
360 says, Bump is the guy that got mad in the 1930s when they put a web between the pointer finger and the thumb on the glove, too. That's me. I'm owning it, man. I'm the oldest guy in this room right now.
I wish they had that webbing that I could just hit my hand and almost break my hand.
Putting a dang web on the glove. What are y'all doing, man? Keep things the same. 425 says, I feel like it's not the end of the world. I'm surprised MLB doesn't have 3 different bat designs approved in general. Like, I mean, listen, I'm not the baseball powers that be will obviously make a ruling on this. And we'll see, but it just feels like, man, you still got to square it up. But these guys are the best in the world at squaring it up.
Well, the real problem is, and some texters have pointed out that, yes, other teams have used it because this is not, I think this is spring training. It's not like they just debuted them this weekend, but because it's the Yankees, so they get an outsized amount of attention, and because they hit so many home runs, they hit 15 on the weekend, and in a game where you hit 9, that's going to bring a lot of eyes there. I think it's more the fact that, hey, they knew what their guy Nestor Cortez likes to throw. I mean, he had just been on the Yankees. Don't tell me the bats helped out hitting 3 home runs on the first 3 pitches. That's knowing something in the scouting report about your pitcher who has struggled giving up home runs at times. So the Yankees kind of jumped on Nestor Cortez. That became a big storyline because of these bats and because, as you heard, the broadcast brought it up, and then everyone's talking about it. Yeah. So there's always going to be a hot fad, right, or hot new trend or some piece of equipment. You have that in golf, I'm sure. Right?
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of which, 253 says right now, Bump, same thing as when they came out with the metal large head drivers. That's correct.
Wait.
I feel you.
What about I'm standing up now. What about the belly putters? Remember that?
Can't use those anymore.
I know.
Can't use them.
Those, I didn't like those.
Yeah, it changed. I mean, listen, I'll complain. But if the people who are in this, who run baseball, are okay with it, okay, I'll be okay with it. It looks funny to me. I'm just saying it looks funny to me, and it's ironic that they had the weekend that they had. And that was the first time I seen that bat. So, yeah, it is what it's fun, though. We'll see what happens there. All right, we're going to switch over to some football when we come back. The Seahawks, man, 2022 draft class. There's some extensions looming. We'll tell you our thoughts on that. That's next.
For Down Territory, going inside the game with former Cougs and Seahawks wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
The NFL is trying to clean up the game. What do they want to emphasize, and how do you feel about it?
The NFL wants to bring in more sportsmanship, and I understand they're saying, look, we want kids watching the game to learn from these guys. And listen, it is a good idea, but the ball player in me says, man, forget all that noise. This is football.
For Down Territory, every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
From whiplash to herniated discs, there are a few car accident injuries we've all heard of. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains that even the most common injuries differ from one another.
Pre-existing conditions, health history, beginning of treatment. There are hundreds of factors that make every person and every injury unique. While these variables aid medical treatment, the strongest case recoveries must also take them into account.
Could you explain a little bit more?
Our team at Pendergast Law is obsessed with turning over every stone to differentiate each case. This requires thorough investigation, diligent listening, and relentless research. We never pursue cases with a one-size-fits-all approach. We built our success by treating every injury and every case with the individualized attention our clients need and deserve.
Pendergast Law's individualized approach to even the most common injuries makes the difference in case outcomes. It's another reason why I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Guys, I'll never forget the first time I saw somebody get results at our clinic. He was an 81-year-old man who hadn't been intimate with his wife in over 8 years. Viagra had stopped working for him, and he was desperate for help. After several treatments, he walked into my office and told me he couldn't believe the results. Needless to say, this was a very happy man. This man made me a believer in what we do. He had taken pills for years, but he had never fixed the problem. When he came to us, we fixed the problem. Our treatment does what no pill can do. So give West Coast Men's Health a call today. Speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. Change your life today, like the thousands of men who already have.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain, and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit DanielNelsonMD.com. That's DanielNelsonMD.com.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home and make price-boosting upgrades with no cost until close. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
It's the World Fighting Championships at Emerald Queen Casino Event Center. Saturday night, May 10th. Experience the thrill of live MMA, boxing, Muay Thai, and kickboxing. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. Don't miss this exciting mixed martial arts event. The World Fighting Championships, May 10th at Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
21 and older. Need gambling help? Call 800-547-6133 or visit emeraldqueen.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners got a win yesterday thanks to Julio Rodriguez's first bomb of the year in the 6th inning, putting them up 2-1. The Mariners split the series 2-2. The 3-game series against the Tigers starts tonight. First pitch is at 6:40. All 4 number 1 seeds are in March Madness, man. It's coming to an end. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. And then the Yankees introduced the new Torpedo bat. They hit 9 bombs on Saturday en route to beating the Brewers 20-9.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Hour 2 of the Bump and Stacy show. Let's get this rolling. We got Mike Lefkoe filling in for Stacy as she does whatever it is she does on her day off, man. Stacy, hope you're having a nice, relaxing day. But it's time to talk about the Seahawks, man. The 2022 draft class. It's some extensions are looming. It's lurking. What are we going to do with these guys? So May 1st is the deadline to pick up the 5th-year option on first-round picks. But we got some names, Mike Lefkoe, that we have to talk about, all right? The Hawks currently have $63 million in cap space. I love that for them. I need that for them. I wish Will Fries would have cut that thing in half or something. But that didn't happen. It's time for us to move on. Let's talk about these youngsters. So 2022 draft class. You got Charles Cross, Boye Mafe, Ken Walker, Abe Lucas, Kobe Bryant, and Rick Woolen. All guys who contribute heavily to this football team. Where do we want to start? Let's start with Rick Woolen. He's been interesting. His career's been interesting. That first year, he hits the seam, and he's a Pro Bowler. He's thrown at a bunch of times, has a bunch of passes defended with a few interceptions, and we're excited about him. He's 6'3", 6'4", runs a 4.3. You don't make guys like Rick Woolen, and then he starts to stumble a little bit. He didn't have a horrible year after that, but it just wasn't what we saw his rookie season. What do you think they should do with Reek?
Well, first of all, I think Stacy's probably going to buy a Torpedo bat, clearly, on her day off. Why not? If you have a free day, go buy a Torpedo bat. It's all the rage right now. Uses
they must make so much money off of that.
Yeah.
Torpedo bats everywhere.
Well, that guy is an MIT physicist, so, hey, good for him. I think he'll be fine. But interesting that he chooses to go into baseball, right? You know, you're a physicist from MIT. You go into sports. Just it might be a passionate sports fan. But, yeah, you're right. I think Rick Woolen is the most fascinating one out of all these guys. And, you know, we can go through and say, would you keep this guy? Would you wait and have him play out the year? But it felt like, at least to me, I don't know if it felt like this to you, but after that first year, didn't it feel like Rick would be what Devin Witherspoon turned into? A guy that's just a focal point of the defense, who's just such a freak athlete that no one's going to throw his way, a lockdown corner who emerges because he's so raw at that position. If that's what he did in year one, okay, what happens with coaching and development? But it's just kind of been up and down, and it hasn't really been consistent growth. It's been the flashes of, yeah, he's freakishly talented, and then, well, maybe he's not locked in as much as he should.
Right.
Corners are tricky. You know, we've seen them let some corners go because that market's going to be expensive. If I'm the Seahawks, I know I want to get some of these guys signed and locked up maybe this offseason, but Reek, I think you do risk letting him play out this final season and say, okay, if you play well enough that some other team is going to go take a big chance on you, sure, go with it. If you maybe are still up and down, but we like what we have in you and we will value you more than someone externally will, then perhaps they get a better deal with him. So I don't know. I don't think I would commit to Rick Woolen at this point, but yeah, he's a starter, and you're kind of thin at cornerback all of a sudden because you let Trey Brown go. You have a guy in Nehemiah Pritchett who you hope develops, but you really don't have anything else outside of Rick Woolen right now on those outside corners.
Yeah, I agree with you on this one. I think Rick Woolen still has a little bit to prove. We know he's an NFL caliber player, of course, right? But can you get back to your ascending motion, right? He kind of plateaued a little bit. Who knows what happened? His technique is off the field stuff. Who knows? But I'm with you 100% on that. I think Rick still has stuff to prove, and he's still young at the position. He's hardly played corner. Only played about 14 games in college at the corner position. Just a freak athlete. All right, let's move on to Kobe Bryant. I really like this one because this is a dude who was the Jim Thorpe Award winner, I believe, the best corner in the game, opposite of Sauce Gardner over there in Cincinnati. He comes here, and he got injured. And then they draft Devin Witherspoon, and then they move him to safety. Is he a corner? They bounce back and forth. Can he play the nickel? Last year, who was it? Jenkins went down, and he stepped up and balled out. He is and should be the starting safety along with Julian Love for this team. We'll see what they do in the draft. There's a young man from South Carolina who people are talking about when it comes to draft. But Kobe Bryant, I think this one you got to let him play out too, just because he's a young guy and only really has one solid year of production.
I'm going to go on the side of maybe you can get him at a little bit better price than if he continues to develop. And that's just maybe wanting to be different from the let every single guy play it out. Because if you do that, and I'm kind of thinking along the lines of, and this is why it must be an insane job to be an NFL GM, because you're constantly dealing with the draft, the scouting, all that, and then your own guys who every single year you have extensions and then looming extensions. Like in 2023, you're going into the 2023 offseason, or sorry, the 2023 draft class. In this next offseason, you have fifth-year options on JSN and Devin Witherspoon, who then you'd want to negotiate and tie up to a long-term contract. So I don't know if you want to have all that plus these 2022 guys. But, yeah, kind of along the lines of you're thin at safety all of a sudden because Kobe Bryant played well enough, so Rayshon Jenkins is not back. And, yeah, the draft can dictate things, but in the draft it feels like, you know, we hope most of the focus will be on the offensive line. Those impact early picks will be linemen or certainly in the trenches for how Mike McDonald wants to play. So I just kind of like that stability back there. And I'm surprised I thought this way because, yeah, Kobe Bryant just kind of slid in that safety position and fit really well. Yeah. So Julian Love, Kobe Bryant, don't have to worry about the back half of the defense. I would maybe kick around trying to do something with Kobe Bryant this offseason.
And Kobe just seems like a Mike McDonald kind of guy, too. This whole mentality.
And I wonder, you know, as a, fifth-round pick, if he is more agreeable to – or fourth, fifth round, he was – fourth-round pick, right? Yeah. If he's going to be more agreeable to, you know what, this team took a chance on me. I like where I am. I like this coaching staff. They put me at safety. I've started to thrive here. Along those lines of, I can do better here than if I go into a brand new situation, new environment. The Seahawks are building something up around that defense. So maybe you lock down Kobe Bryant, your secondary is taken care of, and then you start to worry about all these other guys we're going to talk about.
All right, let's talk about Ken Walker. Another interesting one, has shown flashes of greatness, right? 60-yard runs, 50-yard runs, switching the field. Last year, didn't do a great job giving the run enough time to develop, but you definitely see what he's capable of doing. GM Mike Lefkoe, what are you doing with Ken Walker?
What a tough title to bestow. I don't think I want that title. But for the sake of this exercise, yeah, and now, okay, I'm curious. Are there any of these guys, you don't have to name a name yet, but you just look at it and think, not play out, but I would not re-sign. Because I'm trying to figure out right now if there are any guys on here that I'm just going to say no.
There's none. I would not re-sign.
Yeah, that's how important this 2022 draft class was. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go along the lines of Ken Walker. This is a big prove-it year. And I love the talent that Ken Walker has, that home run threat and that big playability. And there's so much uncertainty around what he looks like in this offense, what everyone looks like in this offense. So if the run game starts to thrive, you can let him play it out, have a good year. Where it helps you is that the running back market's so depressed, salaries do not go for a lot in the running back market, which is unfortunate.
Exactly.
You know, Saquon Barkley, he got the bag. He got a good deal. But outside of that, you do not have a lot of good contracts getting handed out for running backs. So I think Ken Walker, you can have him play out this deal. If he doesn't do well in this new offense, maybe you do let him go because you have a couple guys back there. You have Charbonnet, you have Kenny McIntosh. You have and I know when I throw this out, we get the angered reactions from the text line. What John Schneider said, they love the running back depth in this draft class. They love the running backs in this draft class. So if Ken Walker doesn't hit for some reason this year, you have some options behind him. I would really like to see him be part of this offense, though, because I think his big playability and his game-breaking threat is better than anyone else on this roster. Running back-wise, not everyone else.
Yeah, Ken Walker, I'm letting him play this out. Yeah. And the reason why I'm doing that is partly because of everything you just said. Also, there are projected 30 RBs who could be drafted in this draft, which is crazy. Like the most since 2016, I think I heard. And it's unfortunate, but you can find solid running backs. Would you like to hit on a Saquon Barkley and find that gem? Of course. Would you like to hit on a Derrick Henry and find that? Most definitely. But the way that I see this offense, how I project it to be extremely balanced and not needing that 1,300-yard running back, I think it devalues Ken Walker when in that sense. But in reality, he's valuable because of his home run ability. But it's a running back, man. You touch the ball 300 times a year. You're liable to get banged up. Your shelf life is really your prime's like 4 or 5 seasons. And there's young guys who are behind you and young guys in the draft every single year. So it's jacked up because personally, I love Ken Walker. Yeah. And I think that he's vital to this. But when you're just talking business, you see what's already on the squad. You see what's going to be in the draft. You understand how this offense is going to work. I think you're more likely to just to pump the brakes on Ken Walker and let him play it out.
I would not be surprised if they don't re-sign Ken Walker because of that. And nothing personally and because he is such a good part of this offense, but because running backs, it's tough to say it, they are so replaceable that you just churn through them, and it's a brutal part of this business, and they wear down, so you just bring in the next guy. So he, out of all these guys that we're talking about, out of this 2022 draft class, I'd be least surprised if they don't re-sign.
Facts. All right, let's move on to Boye Mafe. I really like this one. This was interesting because he has 9 sacks a couple years ago in 2023. He had 6 sacks this year, missed 2 games. But when I look at Boye Mafe, and this is another guy who's young to the game, only started playing in 9th or 10th grade or something like that. So when we look at the careers of all these other guys, right, they've been playing since I was in 4th, 5th grade. He's young. He's still developing. And I see that spark in him. I think that he has the potential to be a 10, 11 sack guy. And because of that, I'm extending him. This is the guy that I'm extending.
Yeah. And because edge rusher contracts can get big, those can get prohibitively expensive. So getting back to what you mentioned at the very start, this $36 million in salary cap space scoring over the cap. Everyone's wondering, okay, well, where are the free agent signings? Where are these guards they're bringing in? I think a good chunk of this is for these guys, and that's an aspect that hasn't been talked about a lot in Seahawks free agency, where all these guards come through, no one gets signed, the angst and the agitation builds. But yes, if you're extending a guy like Boye Mafe this offseason, in addition to, you got to drop, I'm going to skip ahead, I'm going to pull a Dave Wyman here who likes to skip ahead. You're going to have to shell out money for Charles Cross's 5th-year option, which I think is going to happen. Seems like a guarantee, and maybe a couple other guys. That's a chunk of change right now from that salary cap. So, yeah, Boye Mafe, I would lock up because we know how this defense wants to play, right? Those waves of depth, that Eagles style where your next 4 are as good as your first 4, and you can just wear down an opposing offense. So, Boye Mafe feels like the most essential one to sign to a long-term deal this offseason.
I agree. All right, last 2. We're going to talk the big boys, Charles Cross and Abe Lucas. Charles Cross has been reliable. We were doing prep for the show, and I go, dang, he didn't miss 1 game last year. He played almost 100% of the snaps. I believe 1 game he played like 94% of the snaps. He's been reliable. A lot of people see him at that number 9 pick and think, well, you're not getting enough production out of him. We got people texting all the time. Why isn't he a Pro Bowler? You don't have to be a Pro Bowler to be a really good, solid offensive lineman, something that we know the Hawks have struggled to find over the past decade here in this organization. Charles Cross and Abe Lucas, the thing that makes me pump the brakes on Abe is just because he's been hurt, right? He just hasn't been around. If he were healthy, I'd say right now, extend him. If he had gone 2 or 3 seasons and shown like, look, I can play 90% of the snaps and be there most of the time, I say go for it right now. So with Abe, I think you got to play it out. But with Charles Cross, that was interesting. What do you say?
Well, Charles Cross, at least you get the benefit of you can throw down the 5th-year option, so that's not a decision that has to be made this offseason. They have to make the decision on, do you give him the 5th-year option? That's by May 1st, and it looks like, according to Over the Cap, it would be $17.56 million that he would then make in that upcoming season. So not this year, not the final year of his deal, but in the 2026 season. Getting all the numbers messed up, because I'm looking at 2022 draft,
right,
and then the offseason where they run out of their rookie contracts. So he would then be under contract 5 years instead of everyone else because they weren't a first-round pick. So you get that extra year to kind of negotiate. So I think, yes, given and a guarantee that around that projected $17 million in that final season for Charles Cross, everything you said, you got to keep a franchise cornerstone at left tackle. A guy that, hey, if you're not talking about, that's a good thing. In the midst of talking about all the offensive linemen struggling and pressure getting to Geno Smith last year, if you have your solid left tackle who posts, who shows up and plays every single game, you keep someone like that around. because of everything we talked about with the Seahawks struggles to find capable year in and year out linemen. So Charles Cross, a fifth-year option with the expectation that they're going to have to drop a lot of money to sign him to a long-term deal. But I think eventually a long-term deal happens. And at some point, yeah, you're going to have to pay a big chunk of that salary cap to get him to a long-term deal. So that one's a given for me. And then Abe Lucas. Yeah, I have kind of fluctuated on this because there has been struggles to draft offensive linemen and get them in as solid, stable starters. And then you're adding, if you don't extend Abe Lucas, you're adding another area of need on that offensive line. You have your 2 tackles. You're just trying to place the interior. Okay, a little more doable. But you do have that prove-it year. So if Abe Lucas can come out and play and show that he can play for most of the season like he did in his rookie year, pretty much all of that season until those injuries happen, I think you take the risk of, okay, he's going to walk in a free agent year, but we can try to sign him again. And if he can't, then you're going to have to draft that position. So maybe it's this year, maybe it's next year, but Abe Lucas, another one of those wait and sees. So I guess what did we settle on? Only Boye Mafe you're really extending?
Yeah, only Boye. And with Charles Cross, man, he only gave up 6 sacks last year, only 8 penalties. He played the 7th most snaps in the NFL, the 7th most when it comes to his position.
Okay.
At his position, I mean,
it's very impressive.
Reliable. He's reliable as heck. So I think we're just selling on Mafe.
All right. Well, we're the GMs here.
We're the GMs.
We did well. That's all you need to know.
GMs.
The Seahawks. Listen to us. Just listen to this segment.
Oh man. All right, man. Let's go to 4 down territory.
This is 4 down territory. Going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
All right, Bump, going to fire some questions at you here. First down, why do you feel Aaron Rodgers to the Steelers is a done deal?
It's a done deal. I don't know why it's taking so long, but it's a done deal. All right, you guys probably heard this. Him and DK Metcalf were at UCLA. Get to know each other, throwing the football around, doing some routes on air. They're already preparing as if he is the quarterback. There's nowhere for you to go, Aaron Rodgers. You're not going to go to Cleveland. You're not going to be a backup somewhere. It is the Steelers for you, and that is your best situation. DK over there, you have Pickens as well, and you're making it public. It's like you've been dating somebody on the low, then you finally take her out and you introduce her to your mom and stuff. You go to the movies, and it's public now. That's what I'm seeing right here is that it's going to happen. If you didn't feel like it was going to happen, you wouldn't be thrown with DK Metcalf at UCLA.
Bump, I believe they call that a soft launch.
Soft
now,
launch.
I'm still trying to get up to date on the terminology. I think without Stacy and Curtis here, we're kind of an older show.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Hit the nail right on the head.
Yeah. So, that's they did the soft launch.
Soft launch.
Hard launch would have been like all of a sudden Aaron Rodgers signs with the Giants or something out of nowhere. I don't know. But, we got the soft launch there.
The soft launch. I like that. So they soft launched at Westwood. Have you ever been to UCLA?
I have briefly been there once. I was broadcasting for a women's basketball team. They played a game there at UCLA. So just went in, did the game, and left. I wish I could have seen more of the campus.
Westwood is a beautiful place.
Yeah.
I used to go party there in high school. I don't know how my mom let me do something that did. Second down.
Bob, you asked for something to be true at the start of the 2024 season, and it didn't. So what is it, and why do you feel like your request will now be met?
So my request was that the strong safety or the safety for the Seahawks did not lead the team in tackles, right? Julian Love had 120 of them things last year. And what that says to me, yes, they move him up in the box a little bit. He's not really in the box like Jamal was back in the day or a Kobe Bryant. So he's playing deep. So that means that there are a lot of big runs, there are a lot of big plays, and he's making a lot of those tackles. What I wanted was for a linebacker to lead the charge. Now, Julian Love had 109 last year. And then we got Devin behind him with 98, so that means they're getting to the edge a lot as well. And now Ernest Jones had 94 tackles last year. He needs to be the guy. Him and Tyrese Knight, man, you fly around, you make those plays. I understand if you're making plays down the field, your safety is there to help you. I also understand if you use Devin Witherspoon, you move him in the box. He's like a little torpedo. We're talking about torpedo bats earlier. He's like a torpedo. He's going to make plays as well. But I just want old school football. When Bobby Wagner was here, he had like $120 of them things, and he was leading the charge. That means that your LBs are doing exactly what they're paid to do. Safeties are some of the more versatile players out there because they can play deep, they can get in the box, they can cover and all that good stuff. But I don't want to see Jay Love again this year leading this team in tackles. That means that big plays are being made and those linebackers aren't getting to the gap.
So for safeties, I mean, are there any stats that are actually important?
For safety?
Interceptions, passes broken up, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on their role, right? Because there are a lot of safeties who play in the box a lot. Like Kyle Hamilton, he's going to fill up so many spots in the
like a safety like Julian Love. What would you say? Like, all right, that's a great season because they're not looking at tackles, like you said.
4 interceptions, 5 interceptions, 10 pass breakups, 2 forced fumble, 1 recovered.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take that every single year.
Nice.
Yep.
Third down. Bump, why do you think Geno has not signed a contract with the Raiders yet?
It's all about the money. Now, we heard that the Raiders offered $40 to $45 million, the same contract that we're hearing that the Seahawks offered. With Geno, this is his last opportunity to try to make some big money. This is it. This is going to be his last big contract. His first and last big contract. I guess the last one was big for him, around, $27 million. But it's about incentives. And I think that when you're dealing with a quarterback who is 35, 34 years of age, has only had 3 good seasons in this league, you're not going to just give him a bunch of money up front. You might give him that 40 to 45, but Geno's going to try to maximize and say, look, but what if I throw for 4,000? What if I throw 25 touchdowns? What if I take us to the playoffs? What if we win a playoff game? I'm going to need some more coin. So I think that is what it's coming down to. I don't see a world where this doesn't happen. I just don't see it.
That was going to be my follow-up.
Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, Pete Carroll loves Geno. Geno loves Pete Carroll. Geno, where are you going to go if it doesn't work out here? People talking about, oh, well, Minnesota can take a look at a veteran quarterback. Minnesota, let JJ do his thing. No one wants to go to Cleveland. New York already has their quarterback. You're not going to be a backup anywhere. This is going to get done. But it's all about incentives, I believe. Geno wants to maximize, and he should take this approach. Take your time, Geno. It's going to get done, though.
Well, I think it's funny, though, just the contrast because of how quickly everything else happened. Where the DK trade, Steelers announced that extension immediately.
Right.
And, we assume you trade for a guy, and you assume that the extension is going to be done because you're trading for that guy, knowing he'll be there. So when the Steelers slapped down that, 5-year, $150 million, and then the Seahawks moved quickly. They got a deal done with Sam Darnold. That contract came out, and still, there's Geno, and no news from Vegas. Pete Carroll was asked today at the NFL League meetings, what's the status of that? And he said, I think, quote, we're working on it. That's what Bob Condotta tweeted out. So we'll talk to Bob about that coming up at 12 and everything else happening around the NFL. But the longer it goes, it's just more of that, more of that curiosity, more of the why, and the actual financial details are going to be fascinating. Because if he turned down that $40 to $45 million here, what is it going to be that finally sold him on the Raiders? In addition to Pete Carroll, obviously, but what monetarily finally sold him on the Raiders?
Geno and Pete just want to reunite.
Yeah,
they're going to do anything to make this work.
Fourth down. Bump, who will be the most important player on the Seahawks offense, and why isn't it Sam Darnold?
It's not Sam.
No, okay.
It's one of the guys we were just talking about.
Spoken like a true receiver, not a quarterback.
No, not Sam. I mean, listen, if you need Sam to lead this team in a way that an elite quarterback does, you're going to be doomed. I don't think you never put him in that position. But you might be surprised with this one. It's going to be Abe Lucas. Abe Lucas is going to be the most important player on this offense. Why? Because when he is available and he is playing, him and Charles Cross are going to hold it down. All right, you have Olu at the center spot. We'll see if they draft the center or not. You have young guys at the guard spot that you feel like can develop in Haynes and Laumea. You think they're going to draft another guard, but it's all about keeping the band together. And the band has been split up a lot over the past couple years, right? We saw rookies play tackle. We saw rookies play guards. But when Abe and Charles Cross are playing together, those bookends hold it down. And it has to be. He's going to move the defensive line when it comes to the outside zone game. He's good in pass pro. I'm following this man on IG. He's looking healthy. It's Abe Lucas, man, because you feel like you know what you're going to get out of JSN. I think I know I'm going to get out of Cooper Kupp if he stays healthy. The run game, we got 3 running backs back there. It's all about the big boys up front. So if Abe can stay healthy, I think this team is rolling.
I really thought you were going to go with a receiver.
Yeah?
As the receiver mindset over there.
No, I'm not biased, man.
Can I throw a cheating option out there? Can I say my most important would be the to-be-determined left guard.
To be determined.
Who I assume will come in the draft. I don't know, because who's the left guard right now? So to me, that's the most important player on the Seahawks offense. That body,
the guy who ain't there yet.
Person is the creative player. If you're playing football, video games, you know, you're building your own guy. That's the guy who I'm building up and putting on there as my most important, because it's certainly the most fascinating player.
Yeah.
Who's the interior? Because you have those options. You mentioned it, right guard. Feels like they're pretty confident in Olu as the center, at least for now. So that left side, it's just right there in the middle. Who's going to be right next to Charles Cross? Because that left tackle spot's strong. So I don't know. I want to see a guard. I want a name to attach myself to.
Different player, but we're talking about the same band. Keep the band together. We need 5 of them things up front. My high school coach used to say all the time, I need a nickel, not 5 pennies. So go get your 5th guy. Keep this thing a nickel.
I like that.
And we'll get rolling. Yeah, that's that old man wisdom right there. Coach Tom Salter, Culver City High School. All right, we're moving on. When we come back, we'll visit the timeline. We're going to talk a little bit of the Yankees. Stanford football makes a change at head coach. The Pistons doing Piston things. That's coming up next on the Bump and Stacy Show.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
Cooper Kupp is with us. Welcome to Seattle, man. I heard in the press conference, you were looking at like the pictures around here going, man, I remember where I was as a little kid when that happened.
It's a special thing. I was talking about, the experiences, the memories. My wife grew up in Washington. I obviously grew up here. This whole full circle moment of being able to come back here and be a part of things in Washington State, so it's a really cool thing.
Hear the rest of this interview on demand at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
The smart way to improve home comfort is a new heat pump. New heat pumps from Home Comfort Alliance provide efficient heating and cooling in one unit. Upgrade today and enjoy 18 months, same as cash financing, and up to 15% off through March. Visit HomeComfortAlliance.com.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Hey, Mike Salk here with special guest Ryan Roland Smith, and we love having Hyphen on the show to talk a little baseball, but today, talking about something a bit more personal, yet really exciting. Hyphen, share all the good news.
Thanks, Mike. Look, I've been hearing for about 2 years now how you did the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic plan and how you lost a ton of weight. I decided to see what the program was all about, and I'm so glad I did. So far, I've lost 30 pounds in just 60 days, and my only regret is not starting sooner.
Well, I'm happy for you. What's been the best part of the program so far?
Honestly, how simple it's been. There's no crazy exercises, no counting calories or scary shots or injections, no side effects or any of that stuff. I feel healthier, I'm sleeping better, I'm eating delicious meals, and the accountability plus communication from the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic team has made it fun.
Man, that is awesome, buddy. Would you recommend it?
Yes. To anyone listening, I was in your shoes. Just schedule a 15-minute consult at Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. It's all you have to do to start.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary. Through March 31st, save double your sales tax from Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Plus, enjoy easy zero down, zero payments, and zero interest, same as cash, 12-month financing. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com to save double today.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
It's the World Fighting Championships at Emerald Queen Casino Event Center. Saturday night, May 10th. Experience the thrill of live MMA, boxing, Muay Thai, and kickboxing. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. Don't miss this exciting mixed martial arts event, the World Fighting Championships, May 10th at Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
21 and older. Need gambling help? Call 800-547-6133 or visit emeraldqueen.com.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
Mike Salk here, and you've probably heard me mention that Crawl Pros has a full-service pest control division called Pest Pros, and they can prevent bug and rodent infestations from reoccurring at your house. You probably also know that it's especially important to keep a close eye on any signs of pest intrusion in your home during the spring. Why? Well, let's start with rodents. They're at the peak of their reproductive season, so if just one makes its way into your house, it could quickly turn into hundreds, and then you've got damage to insulation, wiring, even structural features, not to mention they're disgusting and carry disease. You may also see an increase in bugs, especially ants this time of year, as they're just looking for food. But if you got kids, you know they leave food everywhere, so this can become an even bigger issue. If you have any reason to think you've got a pest problem, you want to take care of it quickly before you have a much larger problem on your hands. So call Pest Pros. They'll come in, do a free corner-to-corner inspection, just like they did at my house, and fix the problem. If you're worried that any type of critter is making a home of your home, call Pest Pros or visit gopestpros.com.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
It is The Timeline. What is blowing up your feed? And we're going to talk about some of this stuff here. Michael Bumpus with Mike Lefko filling in for Stacy. Let's do it, man. The first one, the Yankees. We know they dropped 20 on Saturday. 9 bombs, but Susan Waldman took some shots at our guy, Dave Sims.
And Dominguez, but both have been on.
Oh, look at this by Jazz. Deep to right center field. That's out of here. Another pay now for the Yankees. They're killing Milwaukee. It's 13-3.
You're not going to know what to do with this. Your old team didn't score 13 runs.
Don't rub it in. Be nice.
Welcome to the New York Yankees, Dave Sims.
Two things.
Come on, Susan.
Love hearing Sims. Miss you, man. Second thing, man, that ain't nice, man. But she ain't lying, though. She ain't lying. Imagine Dave Sims going from the Mariners, struggling to put up 2 or 3 runs, to calling a game where you see 9 home runs and 20 runs scored.
She's not wrong.
She ain't wrong.
But it was unnecessary, Bump. Come on. There was no reason for that. There was no reason on a beautiful Saturday to catch an unnecessary stray like that. When I tell you, you mentioned blowing up, and I tell you, I was getting my phone blown up because I have friends who are Yankees fans and friends on the East Coast and then Mariners people here. And that got kind of circulated around online. Everyone starts sending it to me like, oh, look at this. Or, oh, did you see this? Or can't believe Susan Waldman, the most random person to drop a stray there, threw that down. She is right because the Yankees hit 9 home runs and the Mariners scored 8 runs total on the weekend. So, yeah, I mean, you can't really debate that. It's just, come on, man.
That's what you do to friends, though. You talk the most crap to your friends and your colleagues. So I see what she's doing.
Is Susan Waldman a friend? Is she a friend of the Mariners?
No, not of the Mariners, so. But her and Sims are cool. You know?
They're cool. They're cool. I get it. In that
she's
vein. But you know
jabbing at
what?
'em.
Hey, you know what? You need any motivation? You want a chip on your shoulder? Play that clip for the Mariners for the Yankee series. We can have a broadcaster brawl. I don't know what's going to go down on, Monday, May. They're here. Yeah, Monday, May 12th. Hey, Susan Waldman, if you find yourself unable to access the Yankees radio booth and maybe a bunch of chairs missing and no power outlet, I'm going to tape over all the power outlets. How are you going to do a broadcast without anything to plug into? That's right.
Let's go to
you know,
personal,
that's how we do it in
Don't
Seattle.
talk about my squad like that.
If Curtis was here, he would somehow find a way to work in that classic East Coast bias, thinking the Yankees are just superior to everyone else. Because they hit a lot of home runs against a pitcher that they knew. They had familiarity with Nestor Cortez. All right, great. You beat up your old guy that you chucked away and the Brewers picked him up. But yeah, it was a unnecessary, funny, but unnecessary and completely unwarranted attack on a beautiful Saturday. That was more of it. I was walking around outside. It was so nice out. And I just did the double take like, wow. That just happened. All right, Susan Waldman, you got me here. You got us. She got Seattle.
Man. She got us.
We'll see what happens.
She wins
Payback
that
comes Monday, May 12th.
She wins that one. Good for you. Next up. Stanford football GM Andrew Luck has hired his old NFL coach, Frank Reich, to be the interim coach for Stanford, but just for this season.
Yeah.
That's interesting. The timing of when they fired their head coach is interesting. You're recruiting and all that good stuff. And this is just another example. And Frank Reich is qualified for the position. I'm not saying he's not. But this is coaching in any major sport. You hire the homies. You hire your boys and say, you know what, do this job for me. And why just for 1 year? Is it Frank Reich wants to try to get back in the NFL? That's interesting. And I think it's going to affect their recruiting. Frank Reich is going to go to these kids and say, hey, I'm your head coach just for this year, though. I don't know who else is going to be here. And we already know that it's tough for Stanford to get the best players in the country because it's hard as heck to get in their school. They don't allow kids to enroll early. And I don't know how much money they're pushing out there when it comes to NILs.
You know what the issue is?
What?
The fact is, and I say this lovingly because it is his birthday. Happy birthday, Dave Wyman. Stanford let Dave Wyman in, and they're like, whoa, well, we got to tighten up our admission standards. You know, it's a little easy. Anyone's getting in now, so we got to make it a little more difficult. And since then, they've had trouble. No, it's just, it's interesting that, you know, Andrew Luck is in this position, obviously, and the fact that GM is now a standardized position among college football programs. That's becoming commonplace. Everyone's hiring a GM to oversee all this roster construction and how money is allocated with NIL deals and transfers. But that Luck hires his old coach in Indy. And yeah, I don't know what they're doing. Though I'm a little confused why just interim, because you're sacrificing essentially this season. And then next season, whoever you hire, you're putting them behind the eight ball again because you're not hiring them till the end of the 2025 season. At first, I thought this was like, okay, Frank Reich, he's coming in, he's going to be the coach, while we also search for someone. But no, this story is pretty clear that they're going to hire someone at the end of the 2025 season. So you've just sacrificed a whole nother year. And you said it. How do you go into a recruit's home or even into the portal and say, yeah, we want you to come to Stanford, but by the way, I won't be here next year, and we have no idea who will be.
No clue.
How do you sell that program on that?
It's tough to sell. It's already tough to get football players there. I mean, back in the day with Christian McCaffrey, and they were putting out all these tight ends. Like, there were some glory days, Rose Bowls and all that stuff. It's tough for Stanford at this point. I don't understand the strategy. I understand the hire, but I'm with you. I don't understand the strategy and how you expect to build a program with a guy. And look, I called a couple Stanford games last year. Like 1,200 people at those games. Like, it's the atmosphere ain't there. It's hard to get in. I don't understand this one, but Andrew Luck, he's smarter than you and I, so we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I'm not going to question Andrew Luck because he is definitely smarter than all of us combined and most people in the world. So, yeah, good on him, but tough situation and a weird, uncertain future here for Stanford football.
All right, next up on your timeline, 5 players and 2 coaches were ejected after the Pistons and Timberwolves got into a brawl during the second quarter of their game last night. If you haven't seen this clip, go ahead and watch it. Now, I didn't watch this whole game. I don't know if there's some going back and forth, I guess, between the Pistons and the Timberwolves. But the foul that got this thing going.
Do we have to reenact it on here like we do with the baseball?
No, we have to. We have to
look up again now.
But the foul was not that crazy. It looked like a regular NBA foul. You just swipe across the arm, you got him. It wasn't a flagrant. So there was some other stuff brewing.
It was all game. It was a build-up, and I had to go back and look and read up about what happened because, Pistons Timberwolves on a random late March evening, I wasn't really concerned with watching. But then all of a sudden you see this, and my immediate thought still, nearly 25 years later almost, is the brawl, the Malice in the Palace, or 20-some years later.
Dang, 2004. Was that old?
Yeah. It was
my God, Ian,
2005.
When were you born?
You really want the answer?
Yes.
No.
02.
02. You were still pooping in your pants.
2004. So, 21 years ago, but you still are going to associate the Pistons with that because it's called the Malice of the Palace, not the Malice in Indy. So, the Pistons are the ones that you think of for that. And then I just see, story, big brawl going on like that. It's like, there's the Pistons again.
Yeah, in the 80s, the bad boys, that they got a reputation. And it seems like every decade they remind you, like, this is what we are known for. But that was funny. The foul was not that crazy. So there was some other stuff going down for sure in that situation. But
do you think the NBA needs a little more hate, though? Like back in the old days, when you were talking about the peak of the 80s, then in the 90s, you had teams that despised each other. You had that hate. You had that frustration.
Yeah, no.
Now everyone's friends.
Yeah, they're all buddies because they're all like, look, we're going to make a lot of money together, guys. And this is game 20 of 80-something. We're not, it's not that serious. But I love that, man. I just saw a clip of Michael Jordan. Remember he was getting into it with the Knicks and he goes, like, forehead to forehead with one of their players as he was messing with Scottie Pippen. Like, I love that intensity. And you still see it sometimes, but no, everyone's friends now.
It's
absolutely correct.
Dave Wyman likes to say, bring hate back to the game.
Bring hate.
So I think that should apply to basketball.
All right, bring hate back to basketball. Going to take a new generation to do that. And let's get to the IRG injury report brought to you by IRG Physical and Hand Therapy. Good news for the Mariners bullpen. Both Matt Brash and Troy Taylor have returned to Seattle and started throwing with the expectation that they begin their rehab assignments in a few weeks. Good news, Lefko.
That's great news. And so we were down there yesterday in the clubhouse, and Matt Brash just popped in, and everyone's like, whoa. Hey, welcome back. He had been down in Arizona still throwing and still working out a little bit down there when the team broke camp and came back up to Seattle. So he's there. Troy Taylor's back. And as we get back to talking about this Mariners team towards the end of the show, I think one concern we didn't really get into is the bullpen. And the fact that you still don't have that feel-good, stable middle relief option before you turn it over to Munoz.
Right.
So that was the question for the A's this series. How do you get the ball to Mason Miller, their all-star closer? And for the Mariners, there were some shaky outings by that back end of the bullpen. So it's how do you get the ball to Munoz until you get a guy like Matt Brash back, and then you feel a lot better with Brash and Taylor, who was pretty strong in some outings last year in his debut season.
You heard it here first. We'll talk about that bullpen later. Also, we're going to holler at Bob Condotta at 12. But when we come back, is the tournament still exciting without upsets? We'll break it down next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
The Mariners making a move to lock up part of their core. And Cal Raleigh, this is somebody you drafted, you developed, one of the great catchers in the game. You keep that guy around. He's a leader in the clubhouse. He's everything you'd want in a player. He's everything you'd hope when you draft a young player that they're going to turn into something close to this. And you got it.
Cal could probably get a lot more money on the open market, but he wants to stay here. I think Mariner fans are going to love him forever.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
To me, the LJ way is to provide an experience that people really enjoy being a part of. And they enjoy being a part of it because they're getting great service. They're talking with somebody that actually they feel cares about them. They care about what their impression is going to be walking away. It's also understanding you're now part of our family, and thank you for doing the business with us. And this is how we're going to show our appreciation through customer service. We're going to show our appreciation with taking care of you if you ever have an issue. Majority of the people that are coming to see us are within our community. These are people who are providing maybe services that we also use in our community. So the LJ way, to me, somebody can come into a retail setting and not feel like they got to have their guard up. And that's been a long-standing thing in the car business that, we've tried to shake.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Washington State ranks number 5 in the country for auto theft. The most high-risk vehicles are Kia, Hyundai, Ford F-150, F-250, and F-350. Help keep your car safe with these simple and important tips. Don't leave your car running unattended. Park in well-lit areas. Lock up every time. Keep valuables out of sight. Use an anti-theft device like a steering wheel lock. Share this information with friends and family. Prevent the theft and keep you and your vehicle safe. These tips brought to you by the Washington Auto Theft Prevention Authority.
Hey, baseball fans, Rick Riz here. I'm excited to introduce you to my good friend Keith Dashafy, owner of Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Keith?
Thanks, Rick. At Pella Windows and Doors, we pride ourselves on delivering top-quality windows and doors that enhance the beauty and energy efficiency of your home. Our products are built to last with innovative designs and exceptional craftsmanship. Whether you're looking to upgrade your windows or install new doors, Pella has you covered.
That's fantastic, Keith. Don't wait. Schedule your free appointment today at PellaPNW.com.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
The Mariners are back in action at T-Mobile Park, and you can be there for big moments all summer long with a Flex membership. Flex plans are perfect for fans who want the freedom to choose their games and seats as they go, while still enjoying all the perks of being a member, like saving 10% or more on tickets with no fees, unlocking access to exclusive pre-sales and year-round discounts, and so much more. Join the squad today at mariners.com/flex.
Cal Raleigh wins it in the 10th inning for the Mariners.
Heading outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nelly on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Bob Stelton here for Asset Roofing, and they have got the perfect slogan. You're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset, and I witnessed this firsthand when I met Anthony, the owner, and again when I had him do work on my roof. Now this spring, replace your aging roof with Asset Roofing because you're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset. Check them out at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Swedish Cyberknife is expanding. Dave Wyman with exciting news about Swedish adding a second Cyberknife in Seattle. Cyberknife is a non-invasive, extremely precise prostate cancer radiotherapy treatment. Compared with other radiation therapies, which last 6 to 9 weeks, the Cyberknife treatment period is much shorter, typically 5 days with daily sessions under an hour. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish Cyberknife. Swedish.org/Cyberknife Prostate.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-859-6688. 800-859-6688. 800-859-6688.
Spring cleaning isn't just for clutter. Let Benjamin Franklin Plumbing take care of your appliances. From water heater replacement or repair to advanced water filtration installation, Benjamin Franklin Plumbing is here to provide a worry-free summer for you and your family. Visit BenjaminFranklinPlumbing.com to schedule. You can count on the punctual plumbers, where your comfort and safety come first. Book now. Visit BenjaminFranklinPlumbing.com.
You're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
March Madness, it's been going down. And, you know, the tournament has kind of unfolded the way that millions of people in this country thought it was going to unfold. I've got 91% of my picks correctly, and I'm ranked 2.2 million.
Yeah, theoretically, we don't know this because you didn't enter our group.
Well, you know,
bracket.
I got it. Oh, I got it on my phone right here. All right. Technology got me. I felt like an old man. I hit the wrong link and my bracket didn't get in, but I still got one. But Lefko, we haven't seen a lot of upsets. We haven't seen any of that. Well, no, Arkansas went on a run, right? Arkansas went on a run.
Yeah, but if
for
you're
the
talking
most
about
part,
Sean Calipari as the upset guy,
Yeah.
like your bar is pretty low.
Yeah, but we haven't seen it.
Right.
Like we had, Drake did beat Missouri in the first round, but then they lost to Texas Tech. Where we talked about Arkansas, but you don't want to give them any love. It's like, come on, you're supposed to do
They're
that.
the SEC.
They're the SEC.
I thought they were the SEC. Yeah, you can't give them any credit.
We did see McNeese beat Clemson. That was fun.
Yep.
The main story about McNeese was their manager, though. Did you see him? Yeah. He got an NIL deal.
I saw him when Purdue beat them down the next round.
All right.
No, yeah,
All right.
I did see it.
You guys don't know.
Yeah.
Lefko loves Purdue. I know this is a different listening audience for
That's
you,
true.
usually
Thank
in
you for
the
explaining,
evening.
yeah.
But yeah, he loves him some Purdue. But yeah, it's still been fun to watch, but I just don't have the same feels I used to get even a couple years ago.
Yeah, and I'm worried that the era of the upset is dead. And I don't know what that would mean for March Madness. If the interest kind of wanes a little bit, if the captive audiences are still there, if you just have one seeds marching to the Final Four every single year. Not just that, it's been a boring tournament because we haven't had buzzer beaters. Mm-hmm. We haven't had the drama of close games.
We got one. Maryland?
Right. And it's Maryland beating a low seed. So, okay, it's a buzzer beater, but it's not the feel-good type. That was cool in the moment. But in a tournament where you have so much basketball, especially that opening weekend, it makes it a unique event to not have one until the very end. That was the last game of that opening weekend. The very end, or second to last game, because then Oregon, Arizona took place. But until almost the very end of that tournament, it kind of rings a little hollow. And I even found myself, and I hate saying this feels blasphemous because I love college basketball almost more than anything. And, Curtis and I, the college basketball ball knowers, no surprise that we're atop the bracket. Sorry, had to throw that one in our work group bracket here. But I found myself over the weekend like, I don't really care about the end of this game. Duke, Alabama, Duke's starting to pull away. I don't really care. Yesterday, because we were at the Mariners, it was like, okay. Yeah, Houston's on. They stormed past Tennessee. Not interested in watching the rest. Auburn, Michigan State, I just kind of watched the passing interest. In the past, I would have found every way possible to watch those games and almost divert my attention from everything else to watch them. But now it's not there anymore.
No, I'm with you. It's the beauty and the attraction of part of a March Madness was that you get these stories and you have these moments, buzzer beaters, half-court shots. Who's this school? Never heard of him. There's a guy with a weird name who just dropped 30 on you who's not going to play basketball after this. You're kind of missing that, and we're missing it because of just how college basketball is controlled now. Money, NILs, the poaching players. It's just a different climate for these guys. So I think even with some upsets, we probably still would have seen the Final Four unfold the way that it has. With Duke, Houston, Auburn, Florida, it's the first two rounds where you get these upsets. And I feel bad for my Zag fans because every year, I got people around here, and y'all just believe that the Zags are going to do it, and I support the local team, but they break your heart every single year. So you didn't get the Zags going to run, and you didn't get Lipscomb beating Iowa State in the first round. You just don't have that.
No, and you know what the issue is that what you touched on, what we've talked about, and I know you guys have talked about it a lot with the changing nature of college athletics. Look at the Final Four. The makeup of all these teams, they have poached great players from some of these small schools. So that's where the upsets have disappeared. So Janai Broome, the guy we were talking about, the best player on Auburn, well, he comes from Morehead State. So if you have a Janai Broome and you build around him, all of a sudden that's your Morehead State Sweet 16 team. Or Duke, they have great freshmen, but they also have a key piece in Sion James, the point guard from Tulane. So all of a sudden you're poaching all these guys. Walter Clayton, did you see what he did? That crazy three-point stretch on Saturday. So Florida's guard, he willed them to the win. Florida's playing terribly. Texas Tech's going to win. And then Walter Clayton goes Kemba mode. He's like, you know what? This is a terrible shot. I'm chucking it up. Okay, good. Comes down the court. This drove me crazy, but it worked. He's driving to the basket. He backs up, takes a wild three from the top of the arc, goes in. So that guy's from Iona. And then Florida had a transfer from FAU who went to the Final Four a couple years ago. So you're never going to get a story like that anymore. I don't think you're going to get something like that. And, you can extrapolate it out to college football as well. I mean, we talk about it in terms of March Madness.
The little schools never beat the big schools.
But not just that, but if you have a good player, I mean, Washington State knows this.
Yes,
Look at Mateer.
do.
Look at Cam Ward.
Look at Cam.
That's the problem. What if you had these guys and you had them for more than just a year or two? But it makes me sad for just the underdog story is kind of disappearing across college sports.
Yeah, it is. It is disappearing. And maybe we get lucky and you get a group that stays together, or it comes down to the small schools getting their alumni. If you just have one rich alumni who loves your school so much to just donate and say, look, let's keep these guys here for at least a couple of years, you'll be good. That's also something that I really need to happen. If you listen to our show, I talk about all the time. 2-year contracts for these dudes. 2 years, you have to stay with that school for 2 years, and then you can move on because we're not going to see any variety in outcomes.
That I like. That's a great idea because people are trying to figure out ways to regulate NIL, and it might be tough to just close Pandora's box because the NCAA, they were sore losers. They wiped their hands of it and said, well, if we're losing this, we're putting no stipulations, no restrictions on it. I think at the time, had they said, okay, we're going to help enforce this, where maybe there's a cap on how much you can get every year. There's a limit on how much you could pay players based on a certain team percentage. I mean, there could have been a number of ways to do this, but instead, this free-for-all creates the transfer portal where every single year a guy's on a different team. And what do you do for senior night? You've had 7 different senior nights because you've had 6 different teams. So that's a good idea. I think that could be more enforceable than saying, no, you can't pay this player X amount of dollars. But all right, you can make as much as you want, but you're signing at least a 2-year commitment, and then what? You're only going to 2 schools.
Yeah.
It stems the tide of chaos a little bit because it is just a Wild West free-for-all. I'm sure, we talk about college sports being dirty at times. I'm sure it's a dirty game right now of people trying to entice players to come that way and get paid at this school and, renege on a contract here, all sorts of stuff. So I don't even know what's going on there, but I do like that idea of 2-year contracts.
Yeah, man, lock them down. What are we learning? What are we teaching them, right? You got to go through some stuff. And
theoretically, they're in college.
Yeah,
too.
I learned a lot. I learned a lot in college, and honestly, I thought about transferring as well. But I knew the penalty was if I did transfer, I had to go to like a smaller school or maybe I had to sit out a year. Best thing I did was to stay at Washington State and kind of fight through whatever I was going through. But also, if you were tossing me millions, I probably would have explored other options as well. It's money, and they deserve the money. I'm not saying these athletes don't deserve money. I think they do. They bring in so much money for the universities, but have them locked down and go through some stuff, man. It makes you a better person. Yeah. All right, we're done complaining. You're hanging out with me too much. You're becoming a grumpy old man. You got to chill, man.
That tends to happen, I know. Well, can I pop back in on Wednesday for your complaint segment?
Yeah, come through.
Okay.
We'll do it.
We got plenty to complain about on Wednesday.
Plenty. All right, man. Bob's not going to complain. When we come back, we'll speak to beat writer Bob Condotta. That's next on the Bump and Stacy Show.
The John Schneider Show.
With Wyman and Bob.
Brought to you by Pizza Hut.
When you guys bring in free agents, then they leave and you don't sign them, probably unique to each one. But is it just something you learn in that conversation that you go, okay?
Yeah, a lot of different reasons. It could be medical, it could be personality, financial, how they're going to be a fit in the building, how much they love football, what kind of worker are they. There's a whole interview process that I don't want to give out, actually.
Hear the rest of this interview on demand at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
This is Matt Coker from West Coast Men's Health. Has Viagra stopped working for you? Do you hate the side effects? If you've taken Viagra for any length of time, you already know that pills are not the solution to ED. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the plaque in your arteries and restoring function naturally. No pills, no shots, no surgery. We can also treat Peyronie's disease. Our non-invasive treatment for ED is painless and highly effective. We have treated thousands of men just like you. Stop living with this problem and do something about it. Do yourself a favor, do your partner a favor, and call us today.
Call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com. HSA cards welcome and financing available.
Did you know that your windows and doors are your main source of energy loss? At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, our windows with triple weather stripping and gasket seals are up to 25% more efficient than Energy Star standards. LakeWashingtonWindows.com, a name you can trust.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way.
That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
All right, keep up. It's me, the radar gun at T-Mobile Park. And these Mariners pitchers have me working overtime. 3 all-star aces, Logan Gilbert, Luis Castillo, and George Kirby throwing absolute gas.
Holy smokes, what a performance. Strikeout number 10 on the night.
And don't forget about Bryce Miller and Brian Wu, the young guns. Those guys get me fired all the way up.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3, a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
And just when you think you'd survive, here comes Andres Munoz dialing up triple digits and shutting the door. Oh boy, I'm giddy just thinking about it.
Back-to-back strikeouts, and the ball game is over.
Trust me, you're going to want to grab a seat and feel the speed for yourself. And there we go again. I got to make sure my batteries are charged. Mariners baseball. Trident's up.
The Mariners have a stacked slate of promos on deck, including this week's Julio Bat Flip Bobble Giveaway, tonight through Wednesday, and a Cal Platinum Glove Bobble Giveaway April 7th to 9th. All 6 games are Mariners value games, which means you can score seats starting at just $10. Get your tickets today at mariners.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners got a win yesterday thanks to Julio's bomb in the 6th inning, putting them up 2-1. The Mariners split the series 2-2. The 3-game series against the Tigers starts tonight. First pitch is at 6:40, and all 4 number 1 seeds are in. March Madness coming to an end after a busy couple of weeks. The Yankees introduced their new Torpedo bats. They hit 9 bombs on Saturday, beat the Brewers 20-9.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
We are now joined by our guy, Bob Condotta, beat writer for the Seattle Times. Bob, how we doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
We're good, man. I know you're at the league meetings. What's the spread like down there? They taking care of y'all?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's a place called. There's actually not much of a spread. I guess is why I'm laughing. But yeah, it's sort of like in Caddyshack when the scene in Caddyshack when there's a pool and there's a pond. The media is sort of in the pond, so it's an incredibly super nice place. This is about 2 miles from Mar-a-Lago. So it's right on the Atlantic Ocean here. And so all the bigwigs that get to stay in the hotel, the media, we're out here in these trailers kind of out back and all that. So, but it's fine. They bring guys out for us to come talk to, and that's all that really matters.
I feel you, Bob. When I travel, there's 2 things. I'm like, all right, hotel and what are y'all feeding us? Like, I need to know this stuff. But on to bigger and better things, man. I saw that you just you tweeted about, a few hours ago that the Seahawks, they've been giving rights to Australia, New Zealand, and you joked maybe some offensive linemen there. What does this mean for the Hawks?
Yeah, this is the kind of a big thing of the NFL, that's sort of their global push to play more and more games overseas. And so part of it is they assign teams areas of interest. And it sort of just means that it's an acknowledgement that certain teams are popular in certain other countries. And this gives them sort of the proprietary right to kind of market in those areas and things like that. So the Seahawks are giving Australia and New Zealand, so they can go spend some money doing some marketing things there and try to do some advertising or selling of merchandise or some things like that, kind of above and beyond. And it does sort of, with some of them, it's trying to set the stage for the potential of having games in some of these countries down the road. Obviously, Australia's going to have a game next year with the Rams anyway, so the Rams are a team that is in that area as well. But it could kind of pave the way for that. So it's just, the NFL is going to have 7 international games this year, and they're going to try to keep adding to that and adding countries with every year. And so it's just kind of part of that whole big push.
Okay, so it sounds like Seahawks have a game in New Zealand soon is what I'm taking away from that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road, they gotta keep seeing how these go as they keep adding countries. They're adding Ireland and Spain and things like that. So we'll see how all these games keep going that they're doing.
Hey, Bob, I know you're down there at the league meetings that the NFC coaches talk tomorrow. So what are you guys kind of hoping to hear from Mike McDonald, or what do you think is going to be the big talking point for him when he talks about the Seahawks tomorrow?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, this kind of a tradition of this event is all the coaches from one conference are available one day, and then all the coaches from the other next. So all of us from Seattle kind of huddled around Pete Carroll's table today to hear him. And with Mike, we kind of hearing from him just kind of in general about there's been so much focus, understandably, about what they had to do offensively after they traded Geno and DK, and so the offense obviously looks a lot different. In the defense, they haven't done a ton. They did add DeMarcus Lawrence, but otherwise, it was re-signing Ernest Jones and re-signing Jaron Reed, and then kind of keeping it together. And so I think kind of curious is just kind of his overall view of that. I think that speaks to him being pretty optimistic about what they saw the last 8 games of last year with the defense, and the hope that, especially re-signing Ernest Jones and keeping that part of it together, what they can do there. And, and then just I think him personally, when he was at these meetings, which were at a different place in Florida last year, but when he was here last year, compared to now, I remember last year he was kind of talking about going through all this for the first time. And, he's talked about that a lot since then, about just everything about being a head coach last year obviously was new, and he made some changes along the way just during the season, how some things he did with the schedule, spending, he felt early on he had to spend so much time with the offense because that's not really his thing, but he felt like he had to do that. And then, as the year went on, he kind of felt like, I'm the defensive guy. I need to make sure the defense is going well. And then kind of switched that up at midseason, and the defense obviously got better, potentially as a result of that. So I just kind of hearing from him also just, takeaways from last year as he goes into year 2 and kind of how he feels about all that.
Bob, we've been talking about the tush push a lot, and there's rumors that it's gaining momentum. Is that something that you hear the head coaches talk about at all?
Yeah, although I'll be honest, I didn't specifically hear anybody talk about it today because the couple coaches tables I was around, I didn't hear it, but it did sound like the general vibe coming out of it is that there's more of a momentum to ban it. Anything needs 3/4 votes, and it's teams technically vote, not just coaches. Although probably in general the coach is a powerful enough guy that the team probably goes along with that in general. But it did kind of seem like there's becoming a little bit more of a push toward doing that. And by the time we talk to McDonald tomorrow, it's possible it'll be known what's happening with that. So maybe he'll be able to give us his opinion on what ends up happening with that by the time we do talk to him.
What do you think about it? Do you like it in the game? Do you not want it in there? Or is it just more kind of overblown because the Eagles are so good that teams want to try to limit that competitive advantage?
Yeah, I mean, there is always that aspect of it. Every year when we come here, there's always a few rules proposals like that. And it does often seem to be like, some team somewhere figured out how to game the system. So the other teams are trying to, get that out of there now so that they can't do that anymore. Certainly, what's the best team in football right now anyway? It's something they're really good at and it made a key part of their attack. And so other teams are kind of, is it sour grapes that other teams are saying, hey, this is an unfair play or puts players at undue health risk. They suddenly think that now that the Eagles have used it so well. I'm a tiny bit mixed. I mean, part of me feels, as kind of as struggle on the word here. But that's in some ways that goes back to like 100 years ago, right? Football was nothing but just pushing guys around in its initial days. So in some ways it kind of harkens back to what football, what all this began from in the first place. So it feels like, why take that kind of stuff out of the game? But the whole thing of being kind of sort of able to like carry a guy or push a guy, I also always kind of felt like that feels like that shouldn't be allowed in a way. Like you're not supposed to just push people around, if you're stopped, then you're stopped. So I'm kind of mixed on it, but it'll be interesting to see the reaction either way.
Hey Bob, we're sitting here waiting for Geno to sign that contract. Rumors of 40 to 45 million. I think he's waiting just to make sure the incentives are good. This is his last really go to make some big money. What do you think is taking so long?
Yeah, well, part of it is I don't know that there's the urgency with the Raiders that there was with the Seahawks. I think for the Seahawks, I think because, Gino, as he told us when we talked to him a couple times about it last year, he wanted this done last year. And so even though the Seahawks a lot of times wait until, they typically have done their big extensions with guys after the draft because, once you get through the draft, then you can kind of start looking more to what your salary cap situation is going to look like in 26 and beyond, or, the future years. The Seahawks wanted to get this done in part because Gino wanted to get it done. And so they were kind of acquiescing, I think, a tiny bit with that. And then once they realized this might not get done, then I think they also felt the urgency to make a decision one way or the other so they could do what they did, which is get something for Gino and then find another quarterback who's available. And they knew they had to act fast if they were going to do that. Now that the Raiders have traded for Gino, he's under contract for next year. And so, it's nothing they necessarily have to get done. Maybe they don't have to get it done until this time a year from now. Ideally, I'm sure they want to get it done probably by the time training camp starts. But I think that's probably some of it. But I also think, the trade happened because Gino wants what he wants. And, I think the 40 to 45, I think that's completely legitimate. What the Seahawks was the starting point of their negotiation. And I think Gino wanted a lot more than that. And I think the Seahawks wanted to, have a negotiation that came down to somewhere in the middle. And there was no negotiation, as John Snyder said publicly, they felt like there was no negotiation at all. So, maybe now I don't know that the Raiders, other than Pete, obviously, as he said today, he had kept in a lot of contact with Gino throughout the year. So I think Pete in general probably has a pretty good idea of what Gino sort of wants. But, maybe the same thing where the Raiders kind of want to get through the draft, keep some cap flexibility going right now for moves they can make, and maybe this just happens later. But it is kind of curious they haven't even held a press conference where Gino's, they've introduced Gino and he's answered questions about all this. He hasn't publicly said anything since the trade happened.
Yeah, we just keep wondering that. We're just every day, hey, is this going to go on much longer? And it does. So I guess it's a good talking point, but it sounds like nothing too out of the ordinary there. But Bob, with the Seahawks, when we look at the free agency process and every time there's a guard signing, there's some angst that pops up again. Does it feel like to you that not that they're done completely, but the focus is more shifted on the draft and scouting rather than, hey, we're going to sign a big name in free agency?
Well, I think part of it is I think they felt there was only one big name, which was Will Fries. And they did try to go after him, but, the whole physical situation got in the way. I don't think they feel like there's any other big names. Like, I don't think they think Tevin Jenkins was a big name. And so other people can maybe argue that. But look at the deal he ended up signing. I think their opinion of what Tevin Jenkins is worth, which probably wasn't what Pro Football Focus or some other people thought it was. I think the teams kind of had a much different idea of his value than maybe people on the outside did. I think they are. We talked to Josh Snyder for a while earlier today as well, and he made the point of after the draft also. And a lot of times things happen in the draft, and then teams make cuts later in the year. Maybe they make them in training camp. And so I don't know that they just felt like of the people who are available, it's no different than they might be able to get in the draft or who they might be able to get closer to when the season starts. But I also, John kind of gave us, and he said this on the air on your station and some other places before, but he went into a lot of depth again today about how they just really feel like what they're doing they think it's going to be a lot better fit for Christian Haynes, Asatoa Lamea, and Jalen Sandell, and some of the young guys they brought in last year. And I think they really want to give that a shot. And, and if you sign a 30-year-old veteran, even if it's still just $5 or $6 million, that kind of is, maybe putting a guy in the way of a young player who they're not paying much to at all and who they think maybe has some huge upside, where with a lot of these veterans, you probably in general know what their upside is at this point. And so are you really any better off there? So, it'll be a much debated as the season goes on for sure to see if they're making the right decisions here. But, they do have the 5 picks in the top 92. They can obviously attack it there. John did make kind of an interesting comment today too about he's not real sure the center class is real great in this draft. So kind of hinting, maybe don't expect the center real high either, and just kind of saying they like Olu and they like Sandell, and maybe they add somebody else to that at some point along the way. And Cole Van Lanen obviously is the name to watch, the restricted free agent who they had in for a visit. Something could still happen there. It just might not happen anytime soon. And they would play him at guard. And so there are some things that I still think will happen. I think between the draft and moves after the draft, they'll add 3 or 4 guys to that mix. I think they just think those 3 or 4 guys are the guys they've passed on so far aren't going to be any better than what they're going to add down the road.
Hey, Bob, you might not have an answer to this, but maybe some insight. We know that Coach Dirty is the defensive coordinator. Any idea, or you get any info about how close he is from actually calling, how close he is to actually calling plays?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to change. I think Mike McDonald, we did ask him that at the Combine, and he said he will still keep calling the plays. So, that's not an uncommon way that it goes. The head coach has specific expertise on one side of the ball. Andy Reid has always called the plays on offense. Sean McVay calls the plays for the Rams on offense because that's what they came up with. And so a lot of times those teams have coordinators as well, but the head coach ultimately is deciding the play call. So I think Dirty, the defensive coordinator role, means that during the week he has a huge say in what they're going to do game plan wise and putting it together, and obviously scouting the opponent and setting up practice plans and coordinating things in that way. But on game day, it's McDonald calling the plays, and I don't anticipate that's changing.
Hey, Bob, will it be noticeable, or how much of a difference do you think we will see, or the coaching staff will have, with just the full offseason now, where they're not scrambling to hire a staff, figure everything out, get everyone on the same page? Are there going to be noticeable changes, or will it just kind of be more behind-the-scenes cohesion, do you think?
I guess in what way do you notice a change? I mean, some on game day that we notice different, or
yeah, I don't. I guess more offensively, we saw the Grubb and DK dust up that then led to the departure of Grubb, and then DK as well. But I just don't know what an off season will look like for this staff, or really if there's anything to say about everyone on the defensive side's been here now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think what they think will be different there is that the team's going to play a lot better. I think they feel like I think McDonald in particular, again, I think he feels like some of the ways they were doing things, their practice week schedule the first half of last year changed a little bit after the bye week because they reevaluated that. They switched days off for the players, switched kind of how they were installing the game plan a little bit, some things like that. And obviously they feel, they played a lot better statistically the last 8 games. So I think in some ways they've done that. They did make some of those behind the scene changes like that last year that I think will stick going forward. But certainly I think they think the continuity is going to help a lot. I think they, again, we saw them make some pretty significant personnel changes midway through last year with the moves at linebacker and adding Ernest Jones. And I think that's also stuff that they felt like they needed this staff to kind of see the players that they have and then be able to make those decisions. So I think they feel like going into this year, they have a much better idea of what they want, what they'll want out of the draft. They didn't make a lot of free agent signings on defense, but the ones they did make, like DeMarcus Lawrence, I think are things they feel a lot more confident about because the staff not only, Dirty, knows him and some other guys on the staff obviously have coached against him and stuff like that, but also understanding how he'll fit in with the other personnel that they have. So I do think there's things like that. Offensively, obviously they completely changed the offensive coaching staff. I don't know that the DK Death stuff had anything to do with changing the coaching staff, but maybe it influenced DK's decisions a little bit. But in general, yes, they didn't. Obviously, they weren't happy with the way the offensive coaching, the way things were going on that side of the ball, and decided to change that. What I know John Schneider really likes is that all the guys they hired have familiarity with each other in the system they're running now. And so unlike last year when you were bringing into, basically your 2 most important offensive coaches and your coordinator and your line coach didn't have any NFL experience. So they were kind of installing a new system at the same time. They were in a huge learning curve themselves. In this case, you have a lot of guys who have a lot of experience who at least know the league really well, will have scouted against, basically every team that the Seahawks will play this year. They've probably scouted against at some point in the last year or two. So they're really familiar with everything from that side of the ball. And they've installed this system at an NFL level before. So I think they feel like that continuity this year will help them a lot from last year.
He is Seahawks beat writer Bob Condotta on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Appreciate you, Bob.
Okay, thanks a lot, you guys. Yep,
all right.
Thanks, Bob.
All right, let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline, a potential ban of the tush push is gaining momentum. Lefko, what's the real headline?
Yeah, we heard Bob Condotta about that. I think the real headline is that whole no crying in baseball thing Guess it doesn't apply to the NFL.
Nah, coaches crying too. It's not even the players.
Yeah.
It's the coaches.
It is the coaches.
Yeah.
You hear about the dust-up that was happening?
No.
Some heated conversations between Sirianni and McDermott and Sean McVay, apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
Where do you see this? On X?
You got to find some better sources, man.
I
No, it's like NFL.com. There was an article
okay.
about that, and some other articles that they just said because, obviously the Eagles are the ones that benefit the most from this, and other teams are trying to combat that competitive advantage. So it sounds like that Sean McVay and Sean McDermott are part of the competition committee, and Nick Sirianni had some heated words for them yesterday.
It's not
as
surprising.
This was being discussed and
Not
considered.
surprising. Sirianni is a passionate individual, and his team is the best at doing it. He's like, why are you taking away my play, man? We invented the tush push. We run this. I'd be upset, too, if they're trying to take away something that we are so good at. I understand the coach's concerns, kind of, but like we said before, stop lying and saying guys are getting hurt on this play.
We'll talk about it coming up at 12:30 because we'll get back to it in NFL headlines. But I think there's some solutions, kind of like how you had that nice proposal for NIL and the transfers. Hey, do a little 2-year thing. Give them all the money they want, but lock them in for 2 years. There are ways that you can change the tush push without outright banning it, or things that you could do to mitigate this. But yeah, right now it just sounds like sour grapes, especially because it was the Packers who proposed it, and the Packers are the ones that are like, oh, this is unfair. Well, the Eagles beat them twice, so that's why.
Come on, next headline.
Headline rewrites.
All 4 number 1 seeds advance to the Final Four, just for the second time in the history of the world. Craig, what's the real headline?
Yeah, real headline. When Duke is the feel-good story of the Final Four, you know you have a problem.
It is, man. The mid-majors are slowly dying. They're not going to be as potent as they used to be. They're not going to have the runs that they used to have, and it's all because the game is changing, and it is what it is. I don't like it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, and Duke, for a number of reasons, I think, I'm not even going to attach feel-good. I'm just going to say Duke is the least worst option to win this national title. Out of Auburn, Houston, Florida, and Duke, the Blue Devils are the ones who are like, oh, okay, I can handle that. They built it a little bit of the old-fashioned way with a talented recruiting class. Now, you can complain about Duke all you want, and I do plenty about how they get all these great recruits. And ever since the one-and-done rule came into effect, they have started to dominate that. Once Coach Hay was like, you know what? I need to keep up. I need to go recruit these one-and-dones like Calipari is doing at Kentucky. Since then, Duke has had the pipeline to get these guys in and then to the NBA. So now that's almost the old way. That's almost out of style because these other 3 teams, they have loaded up in the transfer portal. Auburn's got pretty much everyone from the transfer portal. Florida's got a couple of guys from a number of places. A few texters point out that Chinaloo from Washington State. So yeah, they built it up in a big way. Houston, their best guard is from Oklahoma. So they have everyone. And Florida, really, they built it around Cooper Flagg. So they have the freshmen. They've done it the old school way. Their coach is the least morally negligent of all the coaches remaining, I would say. So there you go. Go Duke, ? But yeah, Duke is the one team out of these 4 you're like, all right. But yeah, 4 1 seeds, not exactly a feel-good Cinderella story.
No, not fun, but it is kind of. You know what? I wouldn't mind seeing Auburn win just because it's something different. But
Yeah,
Duke
sure.
hasn't won since what, 2015, I think it is. So
oh no,
yeah,
it's been so long. Yeah, that's like 18 Final Fours for Duke and 2 for Auburn. So there's the disparity there.
Headline rewrites.
Rafael Devers has struck out a record 12 times through 4 games. What's the real headline?
Striking out 12 times. That sounds like a typical Saturday night for me.
I don't believe that one bit, Lefko. Don't believe it one bit.
Just let the joke play.
Hey, I let it play, but nah.
You know, I mean,
I gotta
a few times, sure. But
yeah, I mean, that's what you do. Shoot.
There we go. We're on the same wavelength.
You gotta shoot, man. That's what I tell my son, man. Go talk to her. Don't stop being scared. You know, what if she doesn't like it? Doesn't matter. Just talk to her. Say
you know
hello.
what? That has died out. Human interaction.
Yeah, it has.
People do not know how to approach people. I've noticed that. It's tough. So you just got to be brave. You got to go up there like Devers, strike out some more, strike out some more, and keep swinging your way through it until it finally works. But actually, wow, that's not a good start for a guy that the Red Sox are certainly counting on.
Let's test this theory. We got an 0-2 baby here.
What's up?
And when's the last time you went up to a girl and asked her for her number?
For her number?
Yeah.
People don't even text anymore.
That's for Instagram.
Yeah, they just do IG.
What's your
Like,
IG?
I'm not even
IG?
asking for a phone number.
You just ask for
Maybe
IG?
You're not even asking for a phone number?
No, they ask for
No,
IG.
I would just start a conversation first. like,
Yeah, of
then
course.
you talk, then you ask.
Would you
Yeah.
do that, though? Because people are scared to go approach people now they don't know.
Probably not.
Okay. See,
I
there we
wouldn't.
go.
I wouldn't cold approach someone. Like if we had spent a whole night, like if my friend group and her friend group were all together at a bar or something, and like that's the way the rest of the day goes. Hey, we should hang out another weekend. Then I'm asking about something. But I'm not like cold approaching someone at the bar. Like, hey, can I get your number? No way.
Kids these days.
Man, we used to, back in the day
I
in
feel
Santa
old, man.
Monica, me and my boys, we used to go to the promenade. That's before you had phones and stuff like that. Before, only the rich kids had phones back in those days. And we used to go with pens in our pockets just so we can grab numbers.
Can I tell you something? There is nothing, man, you just gave me nightmares. There's nothing more terrifying than calling a girl's house because they have a house phone. There are no cell phones, and hoping that her parents didn't pick up.
Yeah.
And they're like, who was
Stressful.
this? And then you have to explain. You're like, is so-and-so there? And, you just hope that the girl answered or whoever you're calling answered and not the parents on the other end. But wow, that'll toughen you up like nothing else.
That'll toughen you up.
Those are some stressful days.
The game doesn't change. It doesn't change. All right, enough of that. Need you to bring back nightmares. All right. When we come back, we'll go around the NFL with some NFL headlines. That's next on the Bump and Stacy Show.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Zog. Weekdays 6 to 10.
What Randy brings is this kind of edginess that is pretty rare in baseball, to see it combined with kind of a look-at-me showmanship. I don't say that in a negative way, for someone to make themselves a spectacle like that, especially when they're as quiet as they are, till he does something awesome and then he turns into Dennis Rodman. Like, I love it.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here from my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Did you know that most people wait 6 or 7 years before they buy a new TV? That's a lot of time in front of one TV. So why not get one of the best sets for the next 7 years, like one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony models? Too expensive? What if you could get up to $1,000 trade-in for your old set? Who would do a stupid deal like this? Right now, at Video Only, you can get big bucks for your old set as a trade-in and a hot price on the new models. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home and make price-boosting upgrades with no cost until close. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
Protein, protein, protein. Everyone is trying to get protein in their diet, but we need fats too. Healthy fat, that is, like the rich, natural peanut and almond butters found at G2G protein bars. Most bars don't have it because, well, most bars aren't real food or refrigerated. Fortunately for you, we aren't most bars. At G2G, you'll find a balanced helping of protein and healthy fat. The fact that they're delicious is just the bonus. They're fast, easy, and perfect for on-the-go families. G2G protein bars. Find them in the refrigerated section at Costco.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
If you've ever wondered if there's something after death, Tyler Henry proves the answer is yes. Be part of his live audience readings and his jaw-dropping ability to connect with the departed at Muckleshoot Event Center, Thursday, July 10th and Friday, July 11th at 8 p.m. Experience this evening of hope and healing, bringing peace and closure to loved ones. Tyler Henry proves our loved ones never leave us. Get tickets at muckleshootcasino.com.
Muckleshoot. John here with Happy Hauler. We want to help get your unwanted items to those in need. Furniture and household items you plan on throwing away? We'll take them and prioritize donating and recycling, keeping items out of the landfill, and giving useful items a second happy home. Happy Hauler is Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We work with over 20 nonprofits all over Western Washington to donate used items. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. Reclaim your space. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Mike Lefko filling in for Stacy Ross. I'm Michael Bump. It's time for NFL headlines. We're going to talk about it again, but it's worth it. NFL teams will vote on whether or not to ban the tush push tomorrow. They need 24 out of 32 votes. Do you think this is going to go down?
I don't think it's going down because of that sheer number. I mean, 2/3 of the league are not going to say, yeah, we're going to ban this play. But it's interesting that it's gaining momentum. That's been the buzzword around this weekend from the NFL league meetings, that it's gaining momentum, that teams like the Bills and the Rams and, of course, the Packers, we know they proposed the rule change, they want to get rid of it. And I started kind of talking myself into this of like, okay, what would that look like? Do we actually need the tush push in football? Because we survived fine without it until 2022. And now the outcry is, well, you want to ban it because it's a competitive advantage. Sure. But is it good for football to have a play like that?
I see nothing wrong with it. I see
It's
nothing
a rugby play,
wrong
though.
with it. Yeah, it's like the origins of football.
Right, but football's not that anymore.
It's not. But football
So I don't
also,
want to see that. I don't want to go backwards in football evolution.
You also used to be able to clothesline people in football. Can't do that anymore. You also used to be able to hit guys in these. Football has changed a lot, and I get the arguments. Like I don't think it should be banned, but I also understand where some guys are coming from. As long as you don't try to tell me that guys get hurt on that play more often than any other play. Like if you're saying, well, it's an unfair advantage for the offense to be able to be helped when they get the football, you start talking about just strategy wise, and maybe I can listen to you and understand where you're coming from. But stop with this. Guys are getting hurt on that play. There hasn't been one documented injury on that play.
No, that is the big issue I have as well. Is hey, if people are using the guise of safety to ban it, but no, there are things that have been banned in the NFL that make less sense. Like why can't a quarterback throw the ball twice? It gets tipped back down to him.
Yeah.
Who is that hurting? They can't throw it again.
Yeah.
Or why do you have to have a lineman uncovered? Or why can't a center go catch a pass? There's so many things that if you think about them, there's no real actual reason for this to happen, but they're the rules, and they plan around that. Or all these things with formations. How many times have an illegal formation been called, and it doesn't affect the play at all?
On the tackle,
One
too.
guy One guy, or one guy is lined up slightly. Remember, a touchdown was taken away from the Seahawks this year because Lockett was like off the line a little bit, or was it JSN? Either way, one of those guys was off the line a little bit. Yeah, and they had a touchdown, but because he was like 2 feet off the line, they didn't have enough guys in line. So things have been banned for less that make less sense. I don't think it'll be banned, but here's what I would do. I would go full-on commander strategy and just force the league to do something because it's an embarrassment. Because the reason it's getting momentum is from all these articles that have come out. They said the NFL was a little embarrassed and taken aback that in such a prominent game, in the NFC title game, you had this embarrassing situation where the officials literally had to step in and say, kids, cut it out. We're giving this kid the toy. That's what they said because the Commanders kept jumping off sides. Good for them because if you're at the half-yard line trying to defend this, there is no real recourse for jumping off sides endlessly. And all they can do is say, well, actually, we're going to come in at our discretion and give a touchdown to the Eagles. Can you imagine the backlash if the officials are literally awarding points to a team?
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
There's already conspiracies enough that officials favor certain teams. So if I'm a defense facing the Eagles next year, I'm going to say, you know what? This is a play still. We didn't ban this. All right, jump offside every single time until you either time it right or you make the officials award points and have that fallout and that backlash.
Sounds good, Lefko.
Yeah?
I'm with you.
You're with me?
I'm with you.
I would come on and complain about it because think about the implications. Gambling implications, fantasy football implications, just pure team winning implications. And what if this was, when the Commanders did that, what if this was late in the fourth quarter and it was a close game? I'm doing whatever possible to stop that team from scoring. Yeah. And if it's a tie game with a minute left and officials step in and say, well, the Commanders won't stop jumping off sides, so we're giving the Eagles a touchdown. Outrage. So basically, this is my long, wordy way of saying, you know what? Maybe ban the tush push, or otherwise teams might do that as a protest.
Got you. Moving on. You guys got to talk to Lefko. He is your guy when it comes to this issue, okay? NFL's Network's Mike Garafolo reports that Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf had a throwing session together over the weekend.
Look, it is a process for Aaron Rodgers, and my understanding is the latest step in the process, was over the weekend at UCLA. He threw to DK Metcalf. They did have a throwing session, the two of them together, according to sources informed of that workout. So Rodgers going through the process and checking all the boxes, and I assume it was a good throwing session there with him and Metcalf. So we'll see if that leads to him saying, you know what, yeah, I'm fully in. I like that guy. I like that target right there.
Why wouldn't you like that target?
I love the Ian Rappaport dropping. Yeah, sounded like it will.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you like that target? It's DK Metcalf, man. And, this is going to happen. It's just a matter of time. If it doesn't happen, I'd be really surprised. There's nowhere for Rodgers to go. It just makes too much sense.
Well, I don't know why the Steelers want to do it. Is he better than a younger option, like a quarterback you can draft? Should they have re-signed Justin Fields? Because we saw Aaron Rodgers against the Seahawks last year. He didn't look good.
Yeah.
His best play was throwing the ball to Leonard Williams. So outside of that, he's a guy who can't move around anymore. He's still coming off a pretty severe injury that it seems like it affected him last year. And he's going to be 42, 42 next year. And his commitment has certainly been questioned about whether he's fully dedicated to football. But I don't know what the Steelers, from their perspective, are thinking. They're in this weird stuck in the middle phase. They've
been stuck in the middle for 10 years. Yeah. This is what they do. They're a team that's in the middle. But I think here's the thing with Rodgers. It didn't look like Aaron Rodgers last year. He still was top 10 when it came to passing yards. His second half was a lot better than the first half. He still had 20-plus touchdowns and under, 12 interceptions or something. He's still better than most of these quarterbacks in the game. I forgot who we had on our show last week, and he said it perfectly. He goes, if you really look at it, there are only really about 18 to 17 legit starting quarterbacks in this league. It's supply and demand. Like the Steelers, I think they have, what pick do they have in the first round? They have the 21st pick. Yeah. If Jackson Dart were to slide there, maybe you grab him there. I don't know, man. But I think Tomlin just wants something that he thinks he can trust. But the hardest part is getting Aaron Rodgers just to buy in to doing what the Steelers do.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to fit.
Yeah, you can't do what you do, dog. You have to do what the Steelers do.
You know, we're talking about teams that are a possibility for hard knocks, and there's only a couple, and the Seahawks are one of them. But I would love to see the Steelers with Aaron Rodgers and just that. And yeah, they just did the Jets, so maybe it wouldn't be fun. But just to see how Mike Tomlin, that disciplinarian and the strict authority figure, deals with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
That's must-watch TV.
Yeah, that's must-watch. All right, Ravens have talked about a Lamar Jackson contract extension with his cap hit currently set to be $74 million. You're going to get this done, though.
In 2026. Not this year, yeah.
2026.
But that is absurd, and it makes me realize how maybe untenable current quarterback contracts are, where there's going to be a cap at some point. There's going to be a ceiling that these numbers hit, because since that deal signed 3 years ago, we have seen Joe Burrow, we've seen Josh Allen, Mahomes is going to want another deal. It's just a constant cycle of one-upping each other because these quarterbacks are such precious commodities, but you're in a constant state of reworking a contract because of something like that, where Mahomes has to rework his contract. Joe Burrow has to rework it for the Bengals to get T. Higgins and Jamar Chase under their cap situation. And how Lamar Jackson, who just signed at the time in 2023, which was not long ago, that record deal, is sitting there with a $74 million cap hit in 2026. So that's not doable. That's literally impossible to work with on your roster. I don't know where it ends with these quarterbacks. You have to make some tough decisions then.
It never ends. The cap goes up. Their pay is gonna keep going up. It's never going to end, man. As long as the NFL is pulling in $22 billion and the cap is rising, contracts are gonna rise, and they're the most important part on a football team. Offensive linemen, I feel you, but when it comes down to it, you need your quarterback to win you some ball games late. Jalen Hurts even had to do it. In the conference championship game, had a couple running touchdowns, still threw some touchdowns as well to Devontae and AJ over there. It's all about timing, man.
It's crazy, though. How do you build the rest of your team? And this is more, I guess, a Bengals question, because the Bengals, who were terribly defensively last year, didn't make the playoffs. They had all these same weapons. Now you're paying more money to those same weapons, and they didn't improve their defense.
Yeah.
So I see disaster looming for the Ravens.
But when you got to go, when you can't let them go.
Yeah, I know. It's the catch-22. I mean, you want guys like that, but then you deal with the fallout.
You got to do it, yeah. Good luck, Bengals. Good luck in your journey.
Bengals, Ravens, everyone.
Everybody. All right, we got more to do when we come back. We're going to flip over back to baseball. There's some uncertainty when it comes to the Mariners. We're talking about their infield and offensive production. We'll talk about that next here on the Bump and Stacy Show.
Blue 88 on Brock and Salk.
How does the McDonald-Schneider tandem look like the Carroll-Schneider tandem in terms of figuring out who they want to have play here?
Every day at 7:45.
I think it's a little bit different, Salk, because certainly they both say the same thing. We want guys that love football, but the optics and the lens through which Pete Carroll looks at that and Mike McDonald look at that are different, because their wiring is very, very different.
Blue 88, answering 3 football questions as only Brock Heward can.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Hello. Welcome to the Lee Johnson Auto family. This is King. This organization's a special one. They call it the Lee Johnson Auto family, and it's not just a name. It's not just some cliche. They foster an environment for us to become a family, to work together, to really become close, and they show us in a lot of different ways that they do value us. Is it perfect? No place is. But I've been very thankful to be here in the almost 10 years and have every plan to stay here for a lot longer and just watch it continue to grow.
He's fun and professional, which explains why so many people visiting Lee Johnson Kia ask for him by name. The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Spring cleaning isn't just for clutter. Let Benjamin Franklin Plumbing take care of your appliances. From water heater replacement or repair to advanced water filtration installation, Benjamin Franklin Plumbing is here to provide a worry-free summer for you and your family. Visit BenjaminFranklinPlumbing.com to schedule. You can count on the punctual plumbers, where your comfort and safety come first. Book now. Visit BenjaminFranklinPlumbing.com.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
Swedish Cyberknife is expanding. Dave Wyman with exciting news from our friends at Swedish.
They're adding a second CyberKnife. Patients can now receive CyberKnife treatment at Swedish Cherry Hill and First Hill campuses. As many 710 listeners know, CyberKnife is a non-invasive, non-surgical treatment option for prostate cancer with proven results. It uses advanced technology to track your slightest body movements while adjusting in real time to deliver radiation with extreme precision. Healthy surrounding tissue and organs are spared from radiation. The end result? Excellent long-term cancer control and significantly reduced side effects. Compared with other radiation therapies, which last 6 to 9 weeks, the CyberKnife treatment period is typically only 5 days, with each session lasting less than an hour. When diagnosed with prostate cancer, consider treatment with Swedish CyberKnife. Swedish.org/CyberKnife prostate. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish CyberKnife.
Take your game day experience to the next level with a Mariner Suite. Suites are perfect for birthdays, anniversaries, client meetings, and that company outing you've been trying to plan for months. Enjoy first-class catering, VIP parking, custom setups for 14 to 400 people, and more, all with the help of a dedicated Mariners rep. Suites start at $125 per person, and season ticket members get 15% off. Reserve now at mariners.com/suites.
Munoz strikes out the side, and the ball game is over.
4 down territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
Washington State has the 3rd highest cost of living in the nation. If Olympia politicians raise taxes again, the cost of everything from groceries and gas to housing will go up even more. They've already doubled spending over 10 years, with little to show for it. Washington State needs lower costs, not higher taxes. Demand smarter state spending now at affordablewashington.org. Paid for by people for an affordable Washington and Olympia, Washington. Top 5 donors are Washington Alliance for Competitive Economy, Microsoft, Madrona, T-Mobile, and Alaska Air.
Bob Stelton here for Asset Roofing, and they have got the perfect slogan. You're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset, and I witnessed this firsthand when I met Anthony, the owner, and again when I had him do work on my roof. Now this spring, replace your aging roof with Asset Roofing because you're either hiring a liability or you're hiring an asset. Check them out at assetroofingco.com. That's assetroofingco.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Hey friends, Stacy Ross here. Who has some of the best deals on new Fords and Isuzus in the Pacific Northwest? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Who has a large selection of the highest quality used vehicles in the Pacific Northwest? That would also be Wayscar Ford in Auburn. And what dealership promises no games, no gimmicks, and never any pressure to purchase? Yes, that is correct. It's Wayscar Ford in Auburn still. Who is the only Ford dealer in all of Washington to offer a 5-day or 500-mile, no questions asked, 100% money-back return policy? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They offer free lifetime powertrain warranty on virtually all of their new Fords. Who's the only dealer that will purchase your used car, pay you right up front, and then once they resell your old car, return 50% of the profit to you? Only Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They've given over $750,000 back to customers who have sold them their cars. And finally, what dealership has been family-owned and operated in Auburn for over 103 years? You guessed it, Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Visit them at wayscarford.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Mariners, do they have a problem? We're 4 games in, Lefko, and we're already asking questions, but that's what we're paid to do. We have to react to what we see. Now, there's been some offensive production. You got Jorge Polanco, 5 for 10. He's been doing his thing, got a bomb. Randy had a bomb. Julio had his moment and was clutch. But there's an infield problem going on. I think you were talking about some unfortunate plays, or a play that Polanco had, and that was a question going into this series and this season, right? Defensively, how are they going to look in spring training? They struggled a little bit, and the offense seems to be a little much of the same of what we saw last year. So what concerns you about this team?
Yeah, and I know we'll get into it more at 1 o'clock when we kind of rehash and kind of put to rest the opening weekend because, hey, it'll be nice to have a bigger sample size, albeit just one more game tonight.
Right.
But as you get further and further into the season, you have more to draw on. So just in this vacuum of 4 games, I'm struggling to figure out whether the defensive uncertainty kind of outweighs the offensive production for Polanco. And then on the other side of that, right now with Donovan Solano, who people believe is a better defensive first base option than Luke Raley, which it looks like certainly, yes, he probably is at this point in his career, whether subsequently his lack of offense is worth not putting Luke Raley in there. Because for a team that struggles offensively, you have Donovan Solano in there, but he's not giving you much. Right. And then on the other side, Jorge Polanco has been your most consistent offensive bat, but he did make 2 confidence-depleting plays on Saturday, or rather, plays he didn't make just drains the confidence from you. One cost them a run, which, hey, the runner was only on base because of a bad situation where Colin Snyder was not where he should have been. He completely blew that play. So that run that Polanco allowed was because the base runner was there because of a Colin Snyder drop pop-up where he ran into Cal Raleigh, and the pitcher should never be there in the first place. But the fact is, Jorge Polanco fielded a ball and just kind of bounced it over there to first, which to your third baseman you don't really want to see. And then the Mariners gave him a day off yesterday. So I don't know if those two things are related or if this is part of the plan where, yeah, he's played a lot at third base. They are still trying to get his knee back to 100%, and they didn't want him to be playing there every single day at third. Maybe a good day to give him the day off, a day game, after a night game, and after a game that was a little shaky. But just right now, that uncertainty that you kind of thought would be there showed its ugly head again on Saturday after he wasn't tested too much on Thursday. Made one really nice play on Thursday on a low line drive that he made that catch. Didn't have a lot of hard ground balls to field on the run. So that comes up, and you just don't know how much of a balance do you need between Polanco producing, but also Polanco as right now a defensive liability.
Right. And, there's we're not the only ones who have questions about what's going on in the infield. Let's hear from Ryan Divish.
They weren't anticipating, having Rowdy Tellez on their roster, even when they signed him to the minor league deal. But the Haniger injury and just kind of how things played out in the spring, Tellez is on there. Now your roster set up with you have 2 left-handed hitting first basemen, and Rowdy is a better defensive player than Luke Raley. He has actually really soft hands. He's got a body by mozzarella stick, but he's still a really good defensive first baseman. But Luke is not as strong over there. But we didn't see Luke play very much either. When he's at DH, you want Luke Raley in games, so he's on the bases and creating havoc a little bit. And so that whole thing kind of mixes up a little bit. And I really thought, honestly, and from what I was told, that early in the season, especially, they know Polanco's not great there. They know he didn't have the requisite amount of rep at third base to get ready because of the knee issue. I figure we would see Dylan more late in games at third base. I thought he would be the defensive replacement, especially when you have a lead.
All right.
Yeah.
A lot there. What is Ryan saying?
That's not even, I didn't even mention the Rowdy Tellez part of it because I had kind of forgotten. You have a redundancy there because you have Tellez and Raley and Donovan Solano. And then, as Divish was saying there, if you're going to put Rowdy Tellez in, who both he and Raley are left-handed bats, do you put Raley as the DH? So what happens to Garver?
Right.
And then some people need to be in the field. The whole Rafael Devers issue did not want a DH because he wants to be in the field. He wants to be in the flow of the game to help him come to the plate. Mitch Garver mentioned that to us when we were down there with Wyman and Bob, that he likes being part of the game when he comes and gets in that rhythm and then goes to the plate. And it makes sense. If you're just sitting in the dugout, you're not in the field, certainly you can lock in. They're professional athletes. They go up there, they take it back. But there's something to be said for seeing how the game plays out, getting in the rhythm, getting that adrenaline flowing when you're in the flow of the game, in the field. And for certain people, works better than others. It feels like there are just too many moving options that don't have a set place. First base, DH, no set rhythm. And then you're taking key at bats away for someone like Luke Raley, who maybe he needs it, maybe he doesn't. You don't know if he can't hit left-handed pitching or struggles against it because he hasn't had the opportunities, or because he is just much better against the right-handed pitchers. But that's the debate now that we've been having for 2 years. And I keep saying, our show in the afternoon brings it up a lot that, hey, give him a chance. Or you're going to be stuck in this situation, this revolving door where you don't know what you're getting from a couple positions now. So first base and DH, big question mark. Third base offensively looks solid. But could that become too much of a liability if, as Ryan mentioned there, late in the game, if you have a must-have play from Jorge Polanco and he doesn't make that throw, you're allowing a key run to score. But if you have Dylan Moore in, his offense right now isn't up to par with what Jorge Polanco is. So all these questions, because it's only 4 games in, but Bump, it's a lot more questions I would have liked after a 4-game series against the A's.
No, I feel you 100%. And then we've seen ups and downs from the offense, and Divish touches on that.
Players are who they are, and I think the faults and the possibilities for struggle we've seen over this first 4 games. And we've also seen the potential. Like the first night where they won the game and they struck out 7 times and walked 7 times, you're like, okay, I can see how they want to get there. I can see how they could have success. And then the next night they go out and they face Jeffrey Springs, who has a great changeup, and they cannot hit lefty changeups for whatever reason. And he strikes out a bunch of guys on 2 strikes with the lefty changeup that they know is coming, and they don't have the discipline to not swing at it. So it's like that's the yin and the yang of this team. And really, it's hard to know what we're going to see more.
Like you said, just a sample size. Hard to know what we're going to see, but so far there have been situations where you feel like these guys just weren't disciplined. End of the day, you get out of that series with a 2-2 split. Mm-hmm. You've had some good moments that we were hoping to see, and you had some moments that we were hoping you wouldn't see because of indicators in spring ball. But that is the beauty of sports. There's going to be ebbs and flows, and this team, because they don't have the star power that some rosters have, when you see those type of things, you're a bit more concerned than if the Yankees came out a little sluggish.
I thought you were going to mention your Dodgers.
I was, but okay. I'm just,
everything's
torpedo,
good right there.
Torpedo back.
Yeah, there are no concerns with the Dodgers right now, right? 5-0. Yeah, must be nice.
Life is good, man.
Sitting over there.
Life is good.
With the Mariners, and we'll get back to some of the positives because I don't want to be just the grumpy negative guy. You said you bring that enough over here to this show, so I don't want to be. the old grumpy man.
I mean, for the most part, I'm positive.
Yeah. We'll keep it a little positive, but more of a confusing issue is kind of what Divish touched on. Is the struggles against left-handed pitching because Jeffrey Springs on Friday struck out 9, and then J.P. Sears yesterday struck out 7. So it's just that right-handed lineup that goes in there struggles against lefties, and then you're not getting some bats in the lineup that might be stronger overall players, especially. And I will harp on the Raley example because if you're comparing the 2 options, it's Luke Raley, who's under club control through 2028, and Donovan Solano, who's 37 years old. He's here on a 1-year deal. He's going to be in there to help the team, but if he's not helping the team right now, I just want Luke Raley to get some more at-bats because we've seen what he can do when he's on the base pass. He's a power bat as well when he gets contact on there. So the left-handed struggles, I think, are the most confusing thing for me because Jeffrey Springs struck out 9, and then yesterday, J.P. Sears struck out 7, didn't draw a walk either. He didn't issue a walk. The Mariners... That was also confusing. So we'll get into that at 1 more because the Mariners didn't draw a walk yesterday. So for a team that can make havoc on the bases, if you're not getting on base, then that's going to be an issue.
All right, more Mariners when we come back. Like I said, we're going to talk about some more concerns, but also some positive. What we saw this weekend, that's coming up next on the Bump and Stacy Show.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk. Weekdays 6 to 10.
There is no offensive problem in Seattle when Julio is hot. None. All of the offensive problems that the Mariners have had in the last couple of years disappear when Julio's hot.
Yeah, you can put all that pressure on Julio, and it's all about Julio. And if Julio goes, everybody else goes. But we also know every rotation that comes in says, don't let that guy get going. So we will not give him much to hit.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Superior Linen Service. 98 years providing logoed apparel, uniforms, floor mats, linens, and more. Give us a call. We answer the phone. Superior Linen Service. Visit suplinen.com.
Join the team. The City of Kirkland is hosting a job fair on Saturday, April 5th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the North Kirkland Community Center. Visit kirklandwa.gov/parkjobs for more information and links to positions.
Roof now, pay later. No payments until 2027. 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors here. Since 1968, we've helped homeowners just like you get beautiful, durable roofs without breaking the bank. Look today and lock in summer pricing before it's too late. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com to schedule your free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
March is here, and Toyota of Renton and Toyota of Kirkland have teamed up to take away your car buying madness. At Toyota of Kirkland and Toyota of Renton, they have the widest selection of new and certified used inventory and the largest savings in the region. Now that's a slam dunk. The all-star staff at Toyota of Renton and Kirkland will assist you with a test drive, and you can score that car the very same day. Come see for yourself or visit online at toyotaofrenton.com or toyotaofkirkland.com.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Hey, fellow Gen Xers, it's Elizabeth Banks. Big news! The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the charge. After all, we gave the world the internet. We're trailblazers. Let's lead the way again because we are at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Gen X, this is our shot. Head to vaxassist.com and schedule today. That's vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
My wife and I have been married for over 15 years, and I've never had any complaints about my performance in the bedroom. But after I turned 40, things started feeling different. I was gaining weight, losing muscle, and I just wasn't interested in sex anymore. My wife told me her friend's husband went through the same thing, and it turns out he had low testosterone. So we booked a free T-check at Revive Health, and that's when I learned that my testosterone levels were low too. We worked with a provider to create a custom treatment plan, and today, my wife and I are having more fun than we did on our honeymoon. My only regret is not reaching out sooner.
If you're ready to book your free T-check, visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com or call 206-529-1111. Again, that's 206-529-1111.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners got a win yesterday thanks to Julio Rodriguez going yard in the 6th inning. They won 2-1 and split the series 2-2. Their 3-game series against the Tigers starts tonight. First pitch is at 6:40. All 4 number 1 seeds are in the Final Four. March Madness coming to an end here soon. And the Yankees introduced their new Torpedo bats. They hit 9 bombs on Saturday to beat the Brewers 20-9.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross. Here we go now.
Mariners kicked off their season on Thursday. Vibes were good. We saw home runs. We saw plays. And then you get into the weekend and you saw some of the same concerns that you had last year. But then on Sunday, Julio has his moments. We're trying to watch him become a needle mover, or a mover needle, what we call it here on the Bump and Stacy show. So Let's talk about what we saw. Michael Bumpus here with Mike Lefko in for Stacy Ralston. Let's start with the concerns. Whenever someone asks me, Lefko, you want the good news or the bad news? I always go with the bad news first. Give me that bad news and let me work through my emotions so we can finish this conversation off on a positive note. So the concerns, one of the concerns is that this team was built or constructed last year. Remember they're saying, look, man, we just want to, stay in the zone and put balls in play and move runners around. And they ended up being a team that relied on the big hit, the home run, more often than you should have. That's what we saw on Thursday and Sunday to win. So it's like, I'll take that. I want that. I want those power numbers. I want to see Julio go and Polanco and Randy. But, man, we got to be able to move runners when they're on base. They were 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position on Friday. Left 9 on base on Saturday, 1 for 10. Not good in that department.
Yeah, that really looms large on Saturday. Friday, they weren't going to win. I mean, that got out of control, 7-0 loss. You're outplayed, and that happens. It's not good. It's not fun. But the ones that hurt are that one and then the bookend ones, the wins on Thursday and Sunday because of what it relied on. And I do kind of wonder the perception and the order of games. We've talked about this a lot, where if you win in a certain way, does it seem better if it happens at the end? Like the bad news before the good news, like you were saying. So if the Mariners had lost the 2 games first, does it feel better now on Monday? Are we coming in today and they had won those 2 games back-to-back in the fashion they did where, hey, on Saturday they hit these home runs to win. On Sunday they did what they did yesterday. Do we feel like, all right, well, they found some touch, they found some magic to figure it out? Or is it the same because the offense really didn't have sustained production? In this case, I think, you don't really feel much better. It just would have made today a little easier in terms of, well, they got 2 wins on the back half to kind of salvage the series. It would have been very bleak on Friday, I'll tell you that, had they lost the opener. But because of, I think, what the A's represent and what the Mariners, the goal is for them. The A's are trying to figure it out. They have some nice pieces. No one expects anything out of the A's. The Mariners have a great pitching staff, arguably the best pitching staff, certainly a top 2 or 3 pitching staff in all of baseball. They have 2 guys now that they have committed significant money to in Julio and in Cal Raleigh. So you have a set window, a set goal of this is where we're contending. This is what we're building up to before all these young pitchers become expensive. So in the immediacy of just 4 games against not one of the best teams in baseball, the fact that the offense looks so lifeless, that's concerning. It's early in the season, but it's also not early because of everything that they've stressed this year, where Dan Wilson has really bore down on those 162 individual battles. We could play the what-if game for all these games of the last couple of seasons, where the Mariners didn't make the playoffs. Well, what if these 2 swung one way or another? I was looking back at the Giants because the Giants did build their team very similarly to the Mariners when they won the World Series in 2010, 2012, 2014. Sorry, as a Dodgers fan, I know that probably stung there. But the comparisons, I think, are natural because San Francisco also has a really tough park to hit in. So the 2 toughest parks to hit in, according to StatCast, are T-Mobile and Oracle Park, where the Giants play. So the Giants had a very good pitching staff. They built it around that. They had some good offensive pieces. And I went back and looked. I was like, you know what? The Giants are winning, like 92 games or 94 games. One year they won with 85. But those 92 to 94 wins, that could have been the Mariners over the past couple seasons. We know these close games, these one-run games that, well, what if you didn't drop one there? All of a sudden, 88 is 90 wins, or an 89-win season is 91 or 92 wins. That does get you in the playoffs, and then maybe that pitching takes off. So you look back at these 2, and you say, those are going to hurt. And without these home runs, you're looking at perhaps disaster. So we haven't seen that sustained offense to feel that good yet. Now, let me know when we want to get to the positive, because I'll stop rambling about the concerns and get to the positives. Because, again, in the small vacuum of only 4 games, there were some encouraging signs from some players on the roster.
Well, I'll do a couple more negatives before we switch over. 41 strikeouts, not good, right? Rayleigh's still not batting against lefties. Solano was 0 for 7, is 0 for 7 on the season, and the text line actually brought this one up as well. The bullpen. What are you feeling about the bullpen? Last year, we didn't see a complete season from Santos. Everyone I speak to thinks that when he's locked in, he can be helpful. Obviously, it's all about getting the ball to Munoz, right? When you evaluate this bullpen, what are you seeing? What are you feeling?
Yeah, right now, it looks like Trent Thornton in the immediacy is the setup man, because he came in the 8th on Thursday and yesterday before turning the ball over to Munoz. And there were some shaky outings. Thursday gives up the home run. yesterday he walks a guy. We're trying to hold on to this 1-run lead. Don't walk a guy there. They worked around that well. I do wonder if Santos will emerge as that setup man because he has looked decent. He's looked pretty solid. The control was an issue last year, and then he couldn't stay healthy. But coming into this season, the 2 innings, it's been pretty solid so far. I mean, nothing really to complain about there. So he gave up 1 earned run, 2 runs on the year, 1 earned run. But that was spring training stats, right? He's got just 1 appearance, this season? Yeah, 2 innings pitched and just the hit. So, yeah, he's looked very good. And I would love to see him become that back-end option until Matt Brash is healthy. I'll feel very good about the bullpen when Matt Brash is back. He comes into a real game, pitches well. He had that 1 spring training outing that was really impressive. Struck out the first batter he faced. He was touching up there towards 98. But it sounds like Brash is a few weeks to a month away. He was back there yesterday, and Dan Wilson said they expect him to go on a rehab assignment in a couple weeks. So maybe you're looking at a month to 5 to 6 weeks more. So that's going to be the big uncertainty until he's back, because you have Saucedo and Spire and Thornton, and if Santos slides into a role that you trust in front of Munoz, that'll go a long way. But yeah, that's the formula, and you have to have everything working in unison if you're going to win with starting pitching and a lockdown bullpen. You can't have any shakiness, and that was a huge issue last year. And that, along with the offense, one of the reasons why they did not make the playoffs.
Right. All right, you ready?
Ready for the positives?
Going to positive now.
Okay.
All right, let's start with Jorge.
A lot of concerns.
So. Yeah, let's start with Jorge, man. Happy he's off to the season that he's off to when it comes to swinging the stick with 5 for 10, 3 RBIs. We could go negative on a player or two of Polanco, but we're not going to do that. All right. Offensively, what are the goods?
This is just the positive Polanco, because we talked about the defensive concerns a little bit ago, and they're obvious. But the fact that he can come in and already deliver those 3 RBI and the 5 hits, right? 5 for 10, only played in 3 games, so I don't think you can ask for much more,
right.
Especially with the situation he came through in that 8th inning on Thursday. That was talked about a lot on Friday, since, hey, you want to talk about small sample size, that's the only thing we had to go off of. But Polanco will be so key to this lineup, because it's a big bet the Mariners are making that a healthy Polanco is a vital bat in the order. And it certainly looked like it, and it has looked like it so far. And I think the most important stretch in this Mariners lineup, you go right past Cal Raleigh, and who do you have? You have 4, 5, and 6. Usually going to be a Rosarena right behind him. Polanco either 5 or 6 hitting there, and then some combination of a Raley or a Garver and all that. But that chunk, they're all veterans too. So if it's Garver, a Rosarena, and Polanco, certainly a Rosarena and Polanco for most of this, they have to produce behind Cal Raleigh, because it puts so much more pressure on the pitcher, where hey, if Cal Raleigh gets on, you have damage coming up behind. And that was part of the reason, I think, where a guy like Raleigh and a guy like Julio, they put so much pressure on themselves over these past couple seasons, because it's almost like they had to do it all. They had to have a home run on every swing, and we saw Cal try to follow up Julio's home run with a massive swing of his own yesterday to try to follow him, because if there weren't reliable options behind them, what's a base hit going to do? You're going to get stranded. There's that I have to do it myself. There might be even more of that now that they have those contracts, but if there's that reassurance that, hey, look, a Rosarena can come through with a home run. Polanco, he's got 5 hits already on the season. This is a guy that puts pressure on opposing pitchers. I think that was very encouraging, and maybe a little bit unexpected, because of, let's put it honestly out there, kind of the vitriol he was getting at the end of the year. He was getting booed at the end of the year last year. So great sign offensively for Jorge Polanco, and I would just kind of like to see that on a consistent basis, along with some improved third base play.
Yeah, good for Jorge. There were some times last year where he felt the heat from the crowd over there at T-Mobile. Another great moment, we saw Julio. He had a clutch moment. That is something that defines a player when it comes to moving the needle, a term that we've adopted here on the Bump and Stacy show, and just expectations, because when you pay this young man the money that you paid him, you are paying him to have these moments more frequently. Last year was a struggle for him, but we saw him get hot in these little spans. So it was concerning. The first 3 games, I'm thinking, all right, Julio, come on. Like, we need your help. You need some type of moment. And he had that. Has to take some pressure off of Julio, but obviously just getting started.
Yeah, and another thing along those lines, hit-wise, certainly wasn't good early on, but he did draw 2 walks on Saturday. Cal Raleigh, too, when we kind of get to Cal, that he didn't have a hit until yesterday, but he drew a number of walks. I think he has 3 as well. He has a stolen base, so they are finding ways to get on base. But it boils down to this for Julio. You want this guy to deliver in the clutch. He has to be the guy who is your clutch bat, Julio and Cal. Both of those. Whoever's coming up in a clutch situation, those two, more than anyone else in this lineup, maybe more so for anyone else around baseball because of what you've put on this lineup, has to deliver in the clutch. So, yes, Julio only had 2 hits, but one of them was the go-ahead home run that turns into the game-winning runs driven in. So for Julio to do that, that's exactly what you asked for, and he delivered in that moment. So I think that's very encouraging that you saw a clutch Julio come through and they had to have it.
Clutch. You have to be clutch. Something that also who was clutch last year, been clutch a lot. Munoz, when he's healthy, he's good to go. I mean, the stuff he has on his pitches are crazy. But it was nice to see that young man come out and handle 2 saves.
You know what? He's such a good guy, too. It doesn't affect the performance. I mean, you could root for a guy if he was, rude and tough to deal with in the clubhouse. But the fact that Andres Munoz is such a likable guy and he takes time to do interviews with everyone, and English is not his first language, but he'll do interviews in English, and he's so happy when he does it, and it's a source of pride, and we appreciate that because he takes the time to kind of do long interviews with our shows and did the interview with me yesterday after the game. But the fact that his stuff is lights out as well, that's very encouraging. And it's getting better as he starts to harness those secondary pitches. You mentioned that kick change that he's working on. We haven't seen that yet. You're not going to unveil that in the middle of a tense game in the 9th inning. So who knows if that actually comes into play in a real-life game situation. But pairing the slider with the fastball has done so much because the one hit he did give up yesterday, Soderstrom, who's just a killer, you time up 99 miles an hour, it's going to go pretty far. So he's throwing 99 to 100, but if you get a bat on it, it's going to go somewhere, and Soderstrom did that, had a big hit there, but good on the outfield to keep it to a single. So for Munoz to really now almost go to the slider as that primary pitch and then blow the fastball by guys, watching him mature as a pitcher has really been a good sight to see over these past couple seasons. And, he is just so reliable, underappreciated, I think. I think there have been cases for him to make an all-star game, and maybe if he boosts his save total up and that number just jumps out at voters, he's an all-star. But I feel like Andres Munoz had a very good all-star case, last year, and didn't get consideration. So if these numbers keep up, 2 saves in one weekend, he might be an all-star.
Last but not least, Robles, man. Remember the Robles run last year when he was just hot, caught fire, earned himself some money? He got on base a couple times yesterday.
Bump, it was not looking good yesterday.
It wasn't.
Robles started off in strong fashion, got an infield hit, and then Sears retired 10 in a row after that. And then it was Robles once again in the 6th inning who got on base, another infield hit, and he was that guy that represented that go-ahead run because Julio hits the home run, so if no one's on base, it's a tie game. But that's what you want out of a top-of-the-order guy, right? Threat when he gets on base, however possible, whether it's an infield hit, it's a walk, finding your way on there, and then creating havoc on the base pass. So we'll see if the stolen base totals equal what they did last year with the Mariners, but I cannot think of a better example of perfect chaotic energy than Victor Robles as the leadoff man, because when he gets on, we don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
I think pitchers don't know what's going to happen, and I think it's the exact tone you need going forward if you're this Mariners lineup.
Yeah, the most fun I had this weekend was watching Randy go yard and spike the bat into the ground. That is something that I think that me as a former player, I would feed off of that type of energy. Baseball is a bit different. It's not like you can just run faster, swing harder. It's more of a skilled sport, but that stuff can be contagious. That's something I haven't seen or felt from this team. Maybe in a couple of seasons, man. When Santana was here, you kind of felt it a bit more. But I like the attitude of this team, the personality of this team. Now it's about doing all the things that you mentioned, right? Bullpen, you get the ball to Munoz, let him do his thing. Offensively, you got to support these arms when they're on the mound with the rotation and give them some cushion, right? Because you imagine being on that mound every single night thinking, I cannot let 1 or 2 runs come in because I don't know if this offense can do it. One series in.
Yeah.
All right, still a lot of baseball left, but we'll call that just Lefko's weekend breakdown right there. That was good stuff.
Okay.
Good stuff.
All right, good. And I ended with the positive.
All right, go
like
for
you
it.
said. There we go.
Yep. All right, 4 down.
This is 4 down territory. Going inside the game. What former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
All right, first down, Bump. I don't know if you're a newsbreaker here, but why do you feel like Aaron Rodgers to the Steelers is a done deal?
It's a done deal, man. Like, what are we doing?
Wow.
He's over there.
Are you saying you heard it here first?
Well, y'all probably heard it by now. But, he's running routes, not running routes, but throwing the football to DK Metcalf at UCLA. What'd you call it? A
soft launch.
Soft launch.
Yeah.
Right? They're out
And
in the
Ian
public
confirmed,
together.
right? Soft launch, yeah.
Ian,
that's the kid's terminology.
The young man we have here, he helps us be cool sometimes. Not even cool, man. I don't know what you help. You just keep us informed. Keep us informed.
I would say helps us be relevant on what the kids are saying these days.
I should not be the cool barometer for anybody.
You're just the young barometer.
Sure.
For lingo.
I'm okay with that.
All right.
But yeah, they're out there. They're out in public. They're dating. They're throwing routes, and DK's getting to know him. You don't do this unless you are close to signing a deal with the Steelers. I talked to a few people. They don't know what's taking so long for Aaron Rodgers to sign this deal. Who knows? But this is it. I'm calling it right now. All you guys know this is going down. Aaron Rodgers will be throwing touchdown passes to DK and George Pickens. I wonder where George is at. Why didn't they invite George? Next time, bring George.
Are you causing some controversy now?
Causing them, stirring it up.
Okay.
Reality TV, Stacy's type stuff right here.
That's true. DK did yield the number to George Pickens, so it seemed like there wouldn't be controversy. But now, Bump's stirring it up.
Let's go.
Inside Steelers newsbreaker. All right.
Yep.
Second down. Bump, you asked for something to be true at the start of the 2024 season, and it wasn't. So what is it, and why do you feel your request will be met?
So, Julian Love had 120 tackles last year. He led this team. If he were the Jamal Adams type that you put in the box constantly, I might not feel some type of way about this. Like, you make the tackles, and it's not like he's just making tackles down the field, right? They do move him up and move him around, all that stuff, but I don't want my safety to lead this team in tackles. And that's what I asked for last year. I said, come on, let's have a season where your linebackers are back in this mix, and it just didn't happen. Now, you did get Ernest Jones halfway through that deal. Someone texted in earlier the numbers. I don't know if they're accurate or not, but essentially saying that Ernest Jones might have finished the season with less tackles, but when he came over, he had a few more tackles than Julian Love. Awesome. I need a season where these linebackers are back into the 120s, and they're leading the way. That means you're good against the run. That means your guys who wear the big pads and number 50-somethings are doing exactly what they're paid to do, which is make the play. Julian Love is a Pro Bowl type of safety. He can tackle. He can defend the pass. He does have good ball skills, but you want him on the back end just roaming and being that free range chicken back there making noise. So I want to see it this year, and I think this will be the year because Tyrese Knight is going to take a step up, I think, and so is Ernest Jones.
Third down. Bump, why do you think Geno has not signed a contract with the Raiders yet?
It's all about the money, of course, right? They offered him $40 to $45 million for his services over there in Las Vegas, and if I'm Geno, this is what I'm doing. I'm pretty sure he is doing that. He's just making sure he gets the most out of this whole deal. He's making sure that my incentives are on point. And listen, I don't expect the Raiders to make the playoffs next year. But what if Geno throws for 4,200 yards? What if Geno has 25-plus touchdowns and less than 10 interceptions? There has to be incentives in his contract. And I think that's what you're going through here. Also, we talked to Bob Condotta. He says that there's not really a rush, right? They're going to get this done. And I'm with them 100%. I don't think that they're going to walk away and nothing's going to get done. This is happening. They chose each other. It's going to be good, but it's all about the money. And Geno should move this way. He's about to be 35 years of age, his last chance to really make some money. So, like usual, it's all about the money.
Fourth down. Who will be the most important player on the Seahawks offense, and why isn't it Sam Darnold?
It's not Samuel. I don't even know if that's your name, Sam. Maybe it is Samuel. All right, it's not going to be Sam because you don't need him, or you shouldn't ask him to be a super elite quarterback. Run this offense, and if you run this offense correctly, like you did in Minnesota, you should have a good year and put up some good numbers. But it's all about the big boys, man, and you need your five to be solid. You need these guys together. And Abe Lucas hasn't played a lot last year. That's going to be my guy. Because when you have your two bookends, your tackles are there, everything else seems to flow a bit. You do need to get a guard. You do need to develop at the other guard spot. You're probably going to address that in the draft. I think you have a center in Oluwatimi. But when Abe is in there and he's healthy, it feels like he brings it all together. So I could have gone quarterback, wide receiver, running back. I could even say the offensive coordinator, even though he's not a player, but he's making things work. But I'm going with the big boys, and specifically one. If Abe can stay healthy, and obviously you add these other pieces, I think this offensive line will get better in this scheme. And the scheme is the outside zone type of look. You're going to max protect. You're going to have tight ends staying in to help with protection. It's just more of a offensive lineman friendly type offense, but you need Abe Lucas to be healthy.
Who do you think emerges at, this is not a down, I'm just throwing it in there. Maybe like fourth down again after there was a penalty on the play. Who do you think emerges as the right guard option? You know, they were shuffling things around last year. Christian Haynes was there. Anthony Bradford was there. No one really grabbed the job. Does that change now with the new staff?
I think they're going to give everyone an opportunity. And it's funny because the lack of moves can mean a couple things. Obviously, someone didn't sign with you, or you think you can develop what's already here. If you start the season today, it'll probably be Anthony Bradford right there, but I think Laumea deserves another shot. From what I saw last year, he looked pretty good. Christian Haynes needs to develop, but you're going to have to get a veteran, and you're going to have to hit in the draft. But if we were to start the season right now, I'll probably go with Laumea, but Anthony Bradford is going to be leading that charge because he's been here the longest. But you know what? New coaching staff. You know, you have another opportunity to prove your worth to your team, because a lot of times guys get pigeonholed. Like I've seen him for half a year or two. We already know what he can do. When you get new staff in here, you got new eyes, you got new ideas, and the teaching is different, the coaching is different. So guys might be able to respond differently. That's what I'm hoping happens here. But yeah, who do you like, real quick?
I mean, I would hope that it's Christian Haynes. You spent a pretty precious pick on him because you didn't have a second-round pick last year. So your third-round pick was essentially, your second and third-round pick. And for a team that needs offensive line help, I would like to see Christian Haynes develop, but more so along the lines of, like we were saying, hey, just have one guy there. Whoever wins the job, claim it, win that job, and be a solid option.
All right, there we go. Let's get to what's on tonight.
What's on tonight with Bump and Stacy, brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot. Now, here's what's on tonight.
The Mariners begin a 3-game series against the Tigers at 6:40. Emerson Hancock gets the start for the M's, while Jackson Jobe takes the mound for Detroit. When we come back, the Seahawks are essentially done with free agency. What does this mean? We'll break it all down. Michael Bumpus, Mike Lefko, Bump and Stacy Show.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
What a night.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
How about that for an opener where it felt like, here we go, Logan is dealing. He made one mistake, but he was just dominant. He was just outstanding.
There was a shot of Logan Gilbert after he delivered one of his pitches where he just he was just screaming. And you saw how intense everybody was. It was really good to see.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Jay Leno, live Wednesday, April 9th at Muckleshoot Event Center. Come laugh it up with one of comedy's living legends. No politics, no lectures, just jokes, and they're all clean. Get your tickets before they sell out at muckleshootcasino.com. Jay Leno live Wednesday, April 9th, only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Muckleshoot. Hey guys. Did you know that half of men over age 50 have erectile dysfunction on some level? Whether you have mild, moderate, or severe ED, West Coast Men's Health can help. We don't prescribe pills and hope they work. Instead, we treat the root cause of the problem with acoustic wave therapy, which breaks down plaque, unclogs arteries, and restores blood flow. We have treated thousands of men across our 11 locations nationwide and have established ourselves as a leader in the industry. So whether you have ED, Peyronie's disease, or suffer from chronic pain, such as neuropathy, carpal tunnel, or Dupuytren's contracture, West Coast Men's Health can help. No pills, no shots, no surgery, just results.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call West Coast Men's Health at 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Spring in Washington. It is practically synonymous with rain. And of course, rain is made up of water, which unfortunately can wreak havoc on your home and your crawl space. So if rain or groundwater makes its way into that crawl space, it can create all kinds of problems, including structural damage or toxic mold. You don't want either of those at your house, trust me. It's Mike Salk here, and that's why you call Crawl Pros. Crawl Pros will keep your crawl space dry. They can install a sump pump and drainage and reroute that water back out and away from your home. They'll take care of any mold that's been created and even address any plumbing issues you may have in your crawl space. Don't take the risk. The best way to learn if you have any water issues is to have Crawl Pros do what they did at my house. Visit your home and inspect your crawl space for free. Yes, Crawl Pros will go where you don't want to. So if you're worried at all about water damage, mold, insulation issues, critters, anything else related to your crawl space or attic, call Crawl Pros or visit crawlpros.com to schedule a free inspection.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Real Success. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at ourrealsuccess.com.
Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses and acquiring rental properties right here in Seattle? We're offering a handful of motivated individuals the opportunity to attend our workshop right here in Seattle for free. That's right, we'll give you 2 free tickets when you text FLIP to 64,000. Seattle is the perfect market to flip houses and build rental income. Discover the simple steps developed by Joe Arias, one of real estate's greatest rags to riches stories. You'll learn to flip properties and secure rental properties without using your own money and in your spare time. Don't miss this opportunity. Come to a complimentary live 2-hour workshop this week right here in Seattle and learn how to start making money flipping homes and building long-term wealth with rental properties. To get 2 free tickets, text FLIP to 64,000. Text in the next 10 minutes, and registrants will also receive a free copy of our Funding for Deals guide. Text FLIP to 64,000 for 2 complimentary tickets. Text FLIP to 64,000.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
John here with Happy Hauler. We want to help get your unwanted items to those in need. Furniture and household items you plan on throwing away? We'll take them and prioritize donating and recycling, keeping items out of the landfill, and giving useful items a second happy home. Happy Hauler is Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We work with over 20 nonprofits all over Western Washington to donate used items. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. Reclaim your space. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
Washington State ranks number 5 in the country for auto theft. The most high-risk vehicles are Kia, Hyundai, Ford F-150, F-250, and F-350. Help keep your car safe with these simple and important tips. Don't leave your car running unattended. Park in well-lit areas. Lock up every time. Keep valuables out of sight. Use an anti-theft device like a steering wheel lock. Share this information with friends and family. Prevent the theft and keep you and your vehicle safe. These tips brought to you by the Washington Auto Theft Prevention Authority.
You've heard the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Since 1926, my family's been helping local businesses make great first, second, and long-term impressions. We know how to make your company look good with quality uniforms, logoed apparel, floor mats, linens, and more. If you're paying for linen service or doing it yourself, let's have the conversation. The information and quote are free, but the savings and service can really add up. Visit suplinen.com. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bump and Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
The Mariners are essentially done with free agency, right? The Seahawks haven't signed a guard yet. Right? We're looking, and Lefko, you pointed it out when I said, I think the most important person is going to be right? Let's get this guy going. He's going to bring the group together. You said, well, that guard position too. Who is going to play guard? And we talked to Condotta earlier. He says there's not really any big names in the draft that they are going to go after. There's not really any big names in free agency anymore. It's all done. So the Seahawks have picked 18, 50, 52, 82, and 92 in the first 3 rounds. They have a chance to fulfill some needs. How many linemen do you think they take in the first 3?
I would hope, and I would assume that with all those picks and with the lack of movement and what Condotta said and what John Schneider has said when he's on with Wyman and Bob in the afternoons, he's on every Thursday leading up to the draft. So, and yes, based on the general lack of people in here, it does seem like there are options out there, but they are not better than what the Seahawks have or what they're banking on having.
Mm-hmm.
So in trying to guess the Seahawks draft plans, I know that's always a fickle suggestion because, they'll pick a player you don't think they need, but turns out to be a really great player like Devin Witherspoon. Taking a cornerback at number 5 was certainly surprising, but it's worked out. I would hope that number 18 is a guard, Or if not, then it's 50 and 52, some kind of guard and center, because these guys, we know if it's tough to bring a good one in free agency, your best path is through the draft, and then you're getting them for 4 to 5 years.
Right.
Because the best lineman the Seahawks have right now is the one they drafted in the top 10. And that's the guy, Charles Cross, who they're going to have for 5 years. So when it's getting more and more prohibitive to pay for other positions, you're having to pay skilled position players on defense and wide receivers and offensive players like the quarterback contracts that we've seen, you have to build through the draft, or else you're going to be trading a king's ransom to bring in a guy like the Bears have traded for all their linemen, or you're overpaying for someone who might have flaws because their team's letting him go to free agency. You know, we all wanted Will Fries. I mean, we can get back into that. But there's a reason the Colts were like, you know what? We're going to let Will Fries go. Maybe they thought they couldn't afford what he wanted. But I look at what, the Chiefs did in locking up Trey Smith. They said, we're not letting you hit free agency because we do value you. Whereas the Colts, they let Will Fries go. Yes, obviously he's going to go help out a team. It's not to say don't sign any free agent linemen, but with what you've talked about, the coaching and banking on that and all these draft picks, I am just really honing in on the fact that this is a team that's planning on rebuilding fully early on in that draft.
Well, there's still a couple names out there that I was interested in. You got Brandon Scherf from Jacksonville, been in the game 10 years. An older guy. I think that kind of scares people a bit when it comes to your options at the guard spot. Will Hernandez is somebody that I've looked at, and Dalton Risner as well. Will being with the Cardinals, or was with the Cardinals, and then Dalton being with the Minnesota Vikings. There's a chance that they pick up one of these guys. Just the big names are gone.
You think one more, maybe? Still,
I would hope one more.
You think? Okay, they're going to bring in someone. All right.
Yeah.
At this point, I think I've just resigned myself to the fact that no one else is coming, because it feels like free agency exists in that little window of the first 3 days, and you're like, all right, on to the draft.
Yeah.
But technically, I guess, it's free agent process still going on.
Yeah, it's still out there. It just feels like it's done because we've watched the Seahawks move over the past few years, and you pick up on tendencies like anything else. When you're competing, you pick up on an opponent's tendency, and our teammate, I guess, the Seattle Seahawks, they have not been aggressive at that position. And John Schneider's put it out there and say, look, we're not going to do stuff like that. So what do I want them to do in the draft? You got to grab at least 2 in the first 5. I think so. I think 18, you're going to go with just your best available player. I think it could be a receiver. We've seen Golden, the wideout out of Texas, being mocked to the Seahawks. We also have seen Brooks, the lineman from Alabama, mocked to the Hawks. At 18, I think it could be anything. At 18, best player, whoever's on your board, you make that happen. After that is where you start to get specific. I would expect picks 50 and 52. One of those has to be an offensive lineman. One of the guys I like, I think his name is Zabel out of North Dakota State. He's a dude. We'll see if he's around. He was not very, what am I trying to say? Below the radar, right? For a while, but then he goes to the Senior Bowl and balls out and makes a name for himself. He's a name that's been attached to the Seahawks as well. But no, you got to get two of them things in the first 5. But I'm saying 18 best player, 50-52, you got to pick up one.
And those guys have to be starters, right?
Yeah.
And this is immediate, come in and start right away. You don't have that luxury of saying, well, we're going to have you develop for a year. We have a veteran here who's going to take the majority of snaps, like you could do at quarterback with some teams, or, receivers. If you draft a guy, you don't need him to be the impact. You're our number 1 right away.
Right.
But it feels like with linemen especially, and that's every team, but we really hone in on the Seahawks because of that uncertainty in the middle. They have to come in and just start day one,
right,
and hold their own and be capable.
I mean, they got a couple guards that they can develop. I mean, because you're interested in seeing what Haynes can do, right? And I'm interested in seeing what Laumea can do. So they could be guys who can come in and start, but it's also like, all right, well, if Laumea and Haynes come back and they just look better, and these coaches like them, you don't have to rush this young man to get in the mix, because that's something that, I mean, me and Stacy have talked about this before too. Is develop.
Yeah.
Right. There hasn't been a lineman to really develop. The last one was Damian Lewis, I want to say. Then he ended up leaving. Then now you got Abe and Charles Cross. But I think you bring in someone with the intention that they start. But if Laumea and Christian Haynes look good in this offense, you let them do it.
That would be a heck of a development then. I guess I'm thinking along the lines of, you're drafting someone in those first 3 picks, at 52. I would hope that person's better than a 6th-round pick.
Yeah.
It's not apples to apples because, maybe there are some traits that you can mold into a really solid lineman. And in the O-line, you were talking about it, that it's important to work as 5, not 1. So, hey, if Laumea fits better with a whole cohesive package than a guy that they draft at number 50.
Right.
Okay, then I'm pretty confident. But just on the surface of, all right, this is a 6th-round pick, or Christian Haynes is a 3rd-round pick, and I get a guy in the 1st round or number 50, I pin my hopes on him coming in and making an impact. And maybe it is just one. I think I'm just kind of more focused toward left guard because there's literally no one, right? I mean, you have Laken Tomlinson. He's not here. So that guy needs to be right in there. Day one, you draft your left guard starter, and then, okay, if it's a LeMaya or Bradford or Haynes, and maybe you do draft another one who can develop. And you know what? Something that we kind of brought up as we talk about the Abe Lucas uncertainty, you might need to draft a future tackle. You might be drafting a right tackle soon, whether that's draft him now, let him develop, and if Abe Lucas can't go, you bring him in because Stone Forsythe isn't here anymore. He played valuable minutes as a guy who would just pop in there. You hated that you had to go to him at times. That meant you were down to your 3rd-string tackle, but he was a solid option, and now you don't even have that because Abe Lucas is there, Stone Forsythe's not, and if for some reason, not hoping this happens, and I think Abe Lucas is ready to go, but just the past history of, well, what if he does have to miss a couple of games? Maybe you are getting a guy that can develop at right tackle, and then he's the future in the next couple of seasons.
No, that's a great point. I think because Abe has just had unfortunate luck with his health, you got to be ready to go. They drafted Michael Jarrell, in the 6th or 7th round last year, and we saw him get some playing time. That was the scary part about last year is that we saw a lot of rookies play, man. We saw a 6th-rounder play. Almeida played. Christian Haynes was supposed to be a guy in the mix, and then he kind of gets pushed back a little bit, and we're hearing was it Mike McDonald? I think Mike McDonald talking about how he just has to physically mature a little bit. Yeah, a bunch of questions going on. Anthony Bradford, who's been questionable at times when it comes to his health and playmaking. So, yeah, man, you gotta grab 2 of them things, man. 2 of them things minimum. I expect it to happen at 50 because I don't think they see anybody at 18 with that type of potential. I think they go best available, and it's not going to be an offensive lineman at 18.
Do you think they trade back?
No, they stay in there.
I would hope they don't trade back.
Please don't do that.
I know there are times where it warrants that, but yeah, it seems like there are needs. It seems like there are needs and skill that you can address because even if the offensive line, even if the offensive line is the bigger pressing need, I think we just kind of went through the roster at some positions, and with these 2022 draft picks, it might not get re-signed. You could use some depth at cornerback. You could use some depth at safety. Receiver, you could always use a receiver, right? Receiver guy over there. You got your receiver love going on. So there are positions that I would be excited about if they took at 18 if they address the offensive line. But you know what? It's going to be interesting sitting there because there's just one pick on day one. So if you finish up Thursday night and they just have drafted a receiver, it's going to be a long day of us discussing what might happen on Friday in rounds 2 and 3.
All right, we shall see. All right. Coming up next, what I need to know. Get your questions in. Maybe some different questions. We got Lefko here, so you guys might want to know something about him or what he has going on. That's 866-979-3776. What I need to know coming up next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
What a night.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
How about that for an opener where it felt like, here we go, Logan is dealing. He made one mistake, but he was just dominant. He was just outstanding.
There was a shot of Logan Gilbert after he delivered one of his pitches where he just he was just screaming. And you saw how intense everybody was. It was really good to see.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Hey friends, Stacy Rost here. Who has some of the best deals on new Fords and Isuzus in the Pacific Northwest? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Who has a large selection of the highest quality used vehicles in the Pacific Northwest? That would also be Wayscar Ford in Auburn. And what dealership promises no games, no gimmicks, and never any pressure to purchase? Yes, that is correct. It's Wayscar Ford in Auburn still. Who's the only Ford dealer in all of Washington to offer a 5-day or 500-mile, no questions asked, 100% money-back return policy? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They offer free lifetime powertrain warranty on virtually all of their new Fords. Who's the only dealer that will purchase your used car, pay you right up front, and then once they resell your old car, return 50% of the profit to you? Only Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They've given over $750,000 back to customers who have sold them their cars. And finally, what dealership has been family-owned and operated in Auburn for over 103 years? You guessed it. Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Visit them at wayscarford.com.
Hey, Mike Salk here with special guest Ryan Roland Smith, and we love having Hyphen on the show to talk
talk a little baseball, but today, talking about something a bit more personal, yet really exciting. Hyphen, share all the good news.
Thanks, Mike. Look, I've been hearing for about 2 years now how you did the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic plan and how you lost a ton of weight. I decided to see what the program was all about, and I'm so glad I did. So far, I've lost 30 pounds in just 60 days, and my only regret is not starting sooner.
Well, I'm happy for you. What's been the best part of the program so far?
Honestly, how simple it's been. There's no crazy exercises, no counting calories or scary shots or injections, no side effects or any of that stuff. I feel healthier, I'm sleeping better, I'm eating delicious meals, and the accountability plus communication from the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic team has made it fun.
Man, that is awesome, buddy. Would you recommend it?
Yes. To anyone listening, I was in your shoes. Just schedule a 15-minute consult at Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. It's all you have to do to start.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, DC. Results may vary.
Lowe's knows how to help pros save. That's why the new MyLowe's Pro Rewards program lets you unlock exclusive member deals on the things you need every day on the job. Plus, MyLowe's Pro Rewards members can get volume discounts on eligible orders through a quote of $2,000 or more. Join for free today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Exclusions, more terms and restrictions apply. Program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Progressive knows when you're in your RV, you're already on vacation. That's when you become Vacation You, who just camped where there's absolutely no shade. Even though regular you burns easily. In fact, Vacation You burns too, but is too stubborn to admit it, which is why regular you gets in trouble at the dermatologist, because Vacation You doesn't do doctors. So bundle your RV with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date. Your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected. Your floor mats are cleaned and delivered. And your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Lee Johnson culture to me is empowering all of your employees to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. You know, there are certain things that it doesn't matter what level of employment you are in our organization. If it's not the right thing or it doesn't feel right, they have the ability to take care of the customer and make the decision without asking a manager, without asking an owner. The end result is they can speak to the customer with more confidence. They're definitely more confident in what they're trying to provide the customer, what the customer is trying to accomplish, and just giving them a better experience.
His name is Justin Meek. He's the leader and caretaker of more than 300 full-time employees for the Lee Johnson Auto family. It's the united understanding among Lee Johnson employees that customers are the purpose of our day. The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It's time for What I Need to Know. Get your questions in. Text them in, 866-979-3776. Let's get into it. Let's go Bump, I know your kids. Oh, I'm sorry, Bump. I know you're a kid sports dad like myself. What I need to know is what you think of the clear cubes that can contains an entire what? Oh, I know what he's talking about. There's this
Because I don't. So
yeah, you ain't got no kids. I'm in the field. You know what I mean? There's this thing, this cube. It's like a little hut that parents sit in, and it's clear. So when it's raining, they have their own little shelter. I like it, and I've had one before, but it gets all foggy and stuff if you don't keep the ventilation going or whatnot. And then sometimes when parents are on the sideline and they're moving, they cut off the angle and you got to move. It's just a lot. So I just sit in my chair, umbrella. I can move a bit quicker with that.
Or you just deal with the elements.
Yeah,
just walk around. No chair needed.
No chair needed.
No.
Nah, I'm sitting down, dog.
Okay.
Soccer game.
I would say I don't really understand the full day-long commitment that something like that is, so I get it. You got to come with all the essentials. All right. I am curious about this one. What I need to know, because we haven't talked about it yet, so I'm kind of assuming the worst. What did Bump shoot this weekend?
Oh, man. On Saturday, I played Redmond Ridge. I never played well there. Never. I shot 87. I should have shot low 80s, but I blew up the last 2 holes. And then on Sunday, I played Echo, and I think I shot like 81, 82. So, not bad.
Not as good as... What did you shoot the one day where you came in and started the show talking about it?
It was a 77 at first, and then now it's a 76 is my low.
Really?
So it wasn't that, but it was good. It was good. What I need to know, what's with my fandom for the Titans and Lightning? Is that you? That's for you. That's for Left.
Well, I don't think you're a Titans and Lightning fan.
Definitely not.
So I changed that to be me because I was typing it. But yeah, no, it's not a Southern thing. Someone said, is that a Southern connection thing? It is the most random thing ever. Just places I have long, fond attachments to, like where I lived or where I grew up. So quick story, born in San Antonio, the Houston Oilers had training camp there, fell in love with those uniforms and that team. I moved, they moved, so I didn't get all worked up about them leaving Houston. Still love the Titans. They were good in the late 90s, early 2000s, so Titans forever. Then Lightning, I didn't have a hockey team until I moved to Tampa. I lived in Tampa for 4 years. Going to a Lightning game was really fun. They got good when I was there, and they've been good, so it's easy to be a fan. But yeah, it's more of, didn't have a hockey team. That filled that void. So now I have a random team for every sport, and there you go.
All right.
So there's good stories behind it, but it is random. I agree.
Filling voids.
Yeah.
Filling voids.
Exactly.
What I need to know, my friend is having a housewarming party this weekend. What is a good gift to bring and not a plant? Let's see. I need...
that's a Stacy question.
There's a bit more information that I could use, but...
I have no advice here.
I would say like some really nice pillows, maybe. Comforter would be nice. You can stuff that you know that they're going to use.
Well, I would say there's tried and true, right? Just a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Bottle of wine always works well. Yeah.
But you want them to use it every day, like something that's essential to having a home.
Well, it's a housewarming, so it's like, hey, here, congratulations. I don't know. Don't trust me.
Nah, I mean, someone already texted in a bottle, so we got people on the same page.
What I need to know, what would Stacy say on this topic? 'Cause I feel like she would have a better idea.
Oh yeah, this is her lane right here. This is her lane.
Okay, well, we'll keep moving on here. How about this? Bump, we can both do this one. What I need to know. Worst first date?
I was in college. I think I am the original got catfish guy.
Really?
I was when MySpace was popping. Ian, you have no idea what MySpace was like.
All these words are unfamiliar
What's
to
the
Ian.
difference between MySpace and AOL? This never made sense to me.
What? Oh, God.
Oh my God. AOL is like the internet. MySpace is like
the first
Facebook.
social network.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Man, there was nothing like your top five.
Man.
The My Five friends there. Yeah.
So anyway, I met some girl on MySpace randomly, and we decided to link up, and she looked nothing like she did in her pictures. But I'm a nice guy. Still had dinner, and at
least it was a girl.
Done after that. Yeah, right.
You could have had much worse happen, especially in the early unregulated days of MySpace.
I should have known.
Just a world of chaos out there.
I didn't know. I shouldn't have known because we were new to this. We were the guinea pigs of social network.
That's true.
Or social media, I should say.
That's quite a claim that you were the first.
I think I was the first one.
Right.
I'm claiming it.
All right. Cool. I got to answer this now?
Yes.
I was trying to think. I've had a lot of bad ones. So maybe it's the person and not the date. But no, I think just in general, if there's somewhere you go and you go in a night setting, like you're going to get drinks, which drinks never turns into just like one. It turns into a lot of things being spent, and then it costs a lot. And you clearly don't have any chemistry, and it's not going well. And you sit there and it's just a grind, a materialized conversation. And you're like, well, this is awful, but all right, we got to finish this out. And then all of a sudden you wasted the night.
Right.
Your wallet's a little lighter. So there have been some of those. I don't have to get into too many details, but yeah, I would say anything along those lines where you just show up and within seconds, like, yeah, this is not going to be fun. This is going to be an agonizing stretch that I'll just have to get through.
So gotta thug it out.
Yeah, exactly. How about this one? What I need to know: giveaway night idea at T-Mobile Park. Stress balls, good or dumb idea?
Repeat it again.
Stress balls. You know,
stress balls.
Squeezy balls, things that. The cushy
balls. Yeah, a good idea. I'm sure some people benefit from it. I used to just, as a kid in the store, mess with it and then put it back before we left.
You know why it's a bad idea, I think? I believe teams and venues have stayed away from anything you can throw easily. So, yeah, that just screams disaster. People chucking them onto the field. I mean, the bullpen's pretty close down there, so everyone in the bullpen would just be trying to hit the opposing team. I can see a lot of those getting confiscated and people getting ejected, so... Yeah.
All right.
People are cracking up about catfishing in MySpace.
Hey, catfishing. Real. MySpace. Real.
Wait, okay, we got to get to this one. And it's prefaced by, okay, hang in with me here. What I need to know, would you rather live in a world where every song ever is by Pitbull, or you live in a world where the only song is Fireball by Pitbull, but it's covered by every artist? So you'd be hearing Fireball nonstop.
Yeah. No, by Pitbull.
Yeah.
Mix it up.
Yeah, because then you'd have songs that you'd have different artists, you'd have a different spin on them. If I had to hear Fireball for the rest of my life, it wouldn't be a very long time listening to music. So
Pitbull used to be a gangster rapper too, man. His transformation is
Mr. 305.
Mr. 305.
Yeah.
What I need to know, what are the chances that the Storm get Paige Beckers? I don't know. I don't know what they have, where their position is in the draft.
You know what? I haven't done my WNBA draft research yet. I prefer to wait till the college basketball season's over. Bump. I mean, we're still in the Elite Eight right now.
Yep.
So please, respect the game. Let the women's NCAA tournament play out. Then I'll get back to you. That's my take on that.
She did drop 40 on them the other day, too.
Yeah.
40 of them things.
Okay.
What you got something?
Do I have anything? No, I don't think. I think that's all the knowing that has happened here.
He said, Bump, AOL chat rooms were a great place to pick up a date. Yes. Hey,
were they? I don't think I was old enough.
This is so embarrassing. I used to go to freestyle chat rooms and battle on the keyboard. Battle, going at fools. Let them know. AOL chat rooms were awesome. Ian will tell you all about it. All right, that is it for us. The Bump and Stacy Show coming to an end. Left Coat, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll do this again. Coming up next, you got Wyman and Bob. Thanks for listening.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
What a night.
Weekdays 2 to 7.
How about that for an opener where it felt like, here we go, Logan is dealing. He made one mistake, but he was just dominant. He was just outstanding.
There was a shot of Logan Gilbert after he delivered one of his pitches where he just he was just screaming. And you saw how intense everybody was. It was really good to see.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Protein, protein, protein. Everyone is trying to get protein in their diet, but we need fats too. Healthy fat, that is, like the rich, natural peanut and almond butters found at G2G protein bars. Most bars don't have it because, well, most bars aren't real food or refrigerated. Fortunately for you, we aren't most bars. At G2G, you'll find a balanced helping of protein and healthy fat. The fact that they're delicious is just the bonus. They're fast, easy, and perfect for on-the-go families. G2G protein bars. Find them in the refrigerated section at Costco.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen, and PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home and make price-boosting upgrades with no cost until close. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
The smart way to improve home comfort is a new heat pump. New heat pumps from Home Comfort Alliance provide efficient heating and cooling in one unit. Upgrade today and enjoy 18 months same as cash financing and up to 15% off through March. Visit HomeComfortAlliance.com.
Guys, thinking about testosterone replacement therapy? Revive Men's Health can help you get started if you're ready to book your free T-check.